Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to No More News. I am your host, Adam Greene. Thank you all for joining me today. Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. So much to talk about today. Another day in Zion. We've got some Greenblatt clips talking about Christian anti-Semitism and calls himself an Israeli, basically. We've got the Tucker with his Palestinian Christian nun. We're going to show some of that. Tucker also promoting the Shroud of Turin Christian grifter. This guy. A ton of other stuff. Going to be a huge show. Only made possible thanks to you guys and your support. There's the Power Chat link is over in the description below and in the live chat on Odyssey and Rumble where we're streaming. NoMoreNews.org to find all the links and a few more t-shirts that are left. Let's start here with the diacidal curse. Greenblatt and the Jews always highlighting and focusing on Christian anti-Semitism, blaming them for killing Jesus because it makes their opposition look insane. Because it makes them look like the poor persecuted victims. It makes everybody have sympathy for them and the crazy Christians blaming them for killing God. Doesn't work. All you're doing is making yourself the villain and giving them an easy out and giving them the persecuted for no reason victim status. Their whole identity is built upon
virus. And like some viruses,
the virus, the Jew-hating mind virus of Christianity.
Anti-Semitism
is
a bit of like a virus. Anti-Semitism is a bit of like a virus. And like some viruses, it exists in the kind of body politic and it's dormant, like chickenpox. Mm-hmm. You get chickenpox as a young person, and
the anti-Semitism is always just boiling inside. It's in their nature. Esau hates Jacob. He might as well be a Kabbalah rabbi. He's got his Kabbalah string, right? Oh, it's anytime it's there brewing amongst the Gentiles, and anytime it could boil up, and they'll try to genocide us. It could happen here. Buy my book. It could happen here. The book he sells. It's just in our nature. It's in our DNA. It's in our blood just to hate them for no reason. And then they get to point to the Christians and go, look, they blame us for killing God. They're trying to steal our chosen covenant.
And it's dormant, like chickenpox. Mm-hmm. You get chickenpox as a young person, and then after the kind of inflammation subsides, it's still in you. And it can manifest again when you're older because of stress or age as shingles. Although you can get inoculated and you can prevent that from happening. So I think
inoculated? So I'm your inoculation. So roll up your sleeve, Goyim, for your anti-Semitism inoculation.
I think anti-Semitism is similar. It's like this contagion.
Here's some woke leftist ideology. Here's some hardcore Christian Zionist ideology. Here's your inoculation. Here's the censorship bills that they're constantly trying to push. Here's the violation of your First Amendment inoculation. Here's the shadow ban you and work with social media and the algorithms to ban everything they don't like inoculation.
Although you can get inoculated and you can prevent that from happening. So I think anti-Semitism is similar. It's like this contagion.
Get inoculated at the no hate program they have for high school students. Get inoculated in the police departments as the ADL sends you over to Israel to train with the IDF. They've got all types of inoculations, huh? Unreal.
You can get inoculated and you can prevent that from happening. So I think anti-Semitism is...
Here's your Anne Frank reading in schools. Here's your Holocaust movie every year. Here's your millions of Holocaust documentaries and mandatory education in schools. Here's your inoculation. Never again.
And you can prevent that.
Never again shall the chosen people suffer their sacrifice, their sacred sacrifices.
Happening. So I think anti-Semitism is similar. It's like this contagion. It's as old as time, right? We face it for thousands of years. First it was, after the death of Christ, there were these accusations that the Jews killed.
See, this isn't even true. The Romans were speaking very badly of the Jews before Christianity, as did the Greeks, as did others before, as other pagans before Christianity. But no, he wants to focus it all on this divine hatred, this biblical Jewish hatred. By the way, who initially were the Christians that wrote the stories blaming Jews for killing Jesus? It was Jews. Let's not forget that. So the greatest hatred actually comes from a messianic Jewish sect. Isn't that interesting? But who gets blamed for it? The Gentile world.
Of Christ, their time, right? We faced it for thousands of years. First it was, after the death of Christ, there were these accusations that the Jews killed Christ and that the Jews weren't a real religion because we didn't accept Christ and then we didn't accept Muhammad. So you have this, the Jewish religion isn't legitimate, and that was the basis for the Crusades, which is at Tish B'Av,
But they actually acknowledge that Judaism is legitimate. This is where he gets this wrong, too. Christians and Muslims acknowledge the Torah and the prophets of the Torah. They don't fully acknowledge the Jewish plan down to the T. They try to steal the covenants and the birthrights. And they say, you need to follow the Jewish Messiah. You're not Jewing right and following the Jewish Messiah, Jew. That's what they say. You see how the focus is all on this, the religious anti-Semitism? Because they win. Because that's within their paradigm. Gives them their victimhood. Kosher theater, thank you. That very well put.
Remembers the expulsion. We had inquisitions. We had all these horrible things. And then, after the Age of Reason, it was, maybe, and they realized that the sun doesn't revolve around the earth and the earth isn't flat. Then it was, maybe Judaism is okay as a religion, but it's the Jewish race that isn't legitimate. And then we saw kind of anti-Semitism metastasize into this kind of race-based form of hate, which of course...
Oh yeah, they were never racial until the Goyim considered it a race. Yeah, they're not the holy chosen descendants. They're not the tribe. It was never racial. They've always been an ethno-religion. It's their tribal god and their tribal religion. The Judeans. Judaism. The Goyim made it about race. Like, no, it was you guys are the racial religious group.
Race-based form of hate, which of course exploded with the Shoah. And then after the tragedy of that, the injustice of that was exposed, people then said, well, it's not that their religion is illegitimate or their race is illegitimate. Now it's the Jewish state that's illegitimate. And we see that now in the form of anti-Zionism, which is anti-Semitism.
The state's completely inextricably linked with the religion.
Semitism.
Okay, so that is why they always highlight this, because they win. Jews always bring up Christian anti-Semitism because most people, especially Christians, most Christians and most regular people find it absurd to blame the Jews for killing Jesus. So it's a no-win. You give them their victim and it doesn't hit. It's not effective. It's a poison pill. It's a red herring. It's like Christians are the perfect worst opposition. The other day, I was able to get one of the clips up before the show started once I saw this Greenblatt thing. I asked, one of the questions I was asking everybody is, who killed Jesus? And does that make you mad? Are you upset that the Jews killed Jesus? And get their takes. And every single person says, no. It had to happen. It's God's plan. Jesus sacrificed himself. We needed it to have our religion. Every single person does it. It's part of the plan, part of the prophecy. So this is not the talking point. This is the talking point that makes us lose and gives Jews power. Is that not clear? Look, here's just one of the guys. He's got Jesus tattooed on him.
Who killed Jesus?
Who killed Jesus?
Jesus killed Jesus. Jesus killed Jesus. I'm assuming.
Oh, that's Johnny Depp?
Yeah, bro. I have a thing for him, bro. This is Jack
Who's this?
Sparrow,
Who's this on the other
That's
side?
all right. That's him without any skin.
The guy from
That's what I
Apocalypto?
think. Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's it.
If the Jews killed Jesus, what do you think of Christians that hate Jews for killing Jesus?
What do I think of him?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's terrible. They're horrible people.
Who killed Jesus?
Who killed Jesus?
That's the average impression when they see you kooks going, the Jews killed Jesus, which I hear from all the leading anti-Zionists. Isn't that a little suspicious? All the biggest anti-Zionist opposition are shilling Jesus and the Shroud of Turin, and then all of the gatekeepers and big Zionist shills, Christians, also shilling Jesus and the Shroud of Turin. Jewish forgeries. And no big anti-Zionist, anti-Israel voice is willing to go to the root of the issue, which is the Torah. All right. Look, we got some other examples I was able to find too. Look at this. I said, see, right-wing watch, they always draw attention to the deicide, the charge of deicide, killing God, making them supernatural villains.
And we put Israel in the region to basically stir everything up, and they are resentful about the fact that Israel is there mucking with all of their relations and imposing everything on them, and it's just they're an instigator. And they, not to mention the age-old fact that, yeah, they literally are the ones who killed Christ. I think we talked about this the last
They literally killed the Jewish Messiah.
time I was on, and read Matthew 27. They say that we are responsible, and our kids will be responsible, and our progeny will be responsible for the death of
They're
Jesus.
all responsible
That's kind of
for
what I
all
was
times. The Jewish book said so. They're all cursed forever. Ignoring that having the blood on you means that you're actually purified from your sin, just like Christians say they're washed in the blood. Ignoring that Jesus says, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Ignoring the fact that Paul says, has God abandoned his people? God forbid. They will all be saved in the end. They're meant to stumble and be hardened and blinded, and this is God's divine mystery and divine plan. All the leading opposition with this bullshit claim is like literally the key to the controlled opposition and the dialectic and their power.
To. But they are absolutely, they are pushing buttons. They are causing problems in the region.
Okay. See through it all. Says, saying Jews killed Jesus is not the gotcha point against the Jews. They're going to get this bill passed in Congress, the IHRA, because remember the Jew in Congress, he's like, Marjorie Taylor Greene is holding up this anti-Semitism bill because she wants to blame the Jews for killing Jesus. I need that clip.
Well, I don't think this is not a reflection.
This is what I was going to say. The IHRA right now is trying to define anti-Semitism with a multitude.
This anti-Semitism definition, all they ever talk about is they can't blame Jews for killing Jesus. They're going to help this bill get passed because that's the only thing that they're bringing up from there, because that's in there. Mark my words. It's already being implemented and incorporated almost everywhere.
This is what I was going to say. The IHRA right now is trying to define anti-Semitism with a multitude of different definitions. One of them that they're pushing to move, if they haven't already, is that saying that the Jews killed Jesus Christ is anti-Semitic. Can you kind of give us the lore on that and the true background and whether they're, whether it's a lie, not lie, or
Andrew actually gives the right answer here too.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty simple, and I don't even think that this would be disputed by
even evangelicals, huh?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. So it basically just went like this. The sect of Judaism, which was demanding the head of Christ. Remember, this isn't all Jews. That is true. Okay, that is the truth. And I'm not going to bullshit people and say it was, because it wasn't. But it is indeed the case that when he was in front of Pontius Pilate, a Roman pagan, the person who could determine whether or not he lived or died, Pilate said that he did not see any reason to do anything to Jesus. He said that he didn't find any fault in him. There was no reason, and he gave them the choice.
All right, we get the point. Here we go. Why is the rabbi always bringing up being blamed for killing Jesus? Because it helps them, because that's their trump card.
Right? Why are you killing Jews for thousands of years? Because they killed Christ when he wanted that. He's infinite. He's God, according to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
And you lose this. Sorry, but this is not a convincing argument. It makes us very weak and vulnerable, can be exploited. Bad arguments like Jews killed Jesus can be exploited to their benefit. Bifurcatio, thank you.
Bifurcatia sent $10 on Rumble. That forgive them, Father thing I've always thought was said to his followers who were all standing around with their thumbs up there while he was bleeding out.
They say, oh, it's the Romans or it's his followers. He meant everybody, or the Jews more specifically, because it does pin it on the Jews and Judas, which represents Jews the most.
Why are you killing Jews for thousands of years? Because they killed Christ when he wanted that. He's infinite. He's God, according to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean you, but I'm talking to those people out there, right? Who every single year, Christmas was the day that Jews had to hide. You know this? That Jews, to this day, there's a tradition to shut down all the study halls on the night of the 24th, on Christmas Eve, and to turn off all the lights, because they used to go around and watch the Passion plays and come and kill Jews because you committed deicide. You killed God, so we have to kill you. And I cannot make sense.
And the Christians will brag. They'll be like, well, Christians had kicked him out in 109 places and persecuted him, pogromed him in ghettos. And they brag about all this, about how base Christianity is. But all you're doing is just making look like you're solidifying their history of persecution. So you're saying you did that just because you're Christians, just because you're mad that they killed Jesus? That's what they say. Because it works and it makes you look bad. Do you not get that? That's how that's the real world. That's how it plays out.
Of that. If he's infinite and he wanted to die for the humanity's sins, and it was his choice to do that, then what are you mad about? You're only saved because he died and his blood was spilled. It's so perplexing to me. And the real answer is, I think,
you wouldn't be saved without it. And all the Christians I talked to, everybody I talked to on the street when I asked this, all said the same thing.
These things are taken on faith. It's not using logic. It's using faith.
Yeah.
And if it's using faith, then any logical question doesn't bother the Catholic because he says, I have faith. So it's just the devil asking these questions. It's just, does it make sense?
Yeah.
And again, I can respect it, but I can't make sense of it.
Yeah. Well, okay, let me put it this way. Regarding about the killings of the Jews, like, I would say you got to separate the person, the people.
This is how kosher it is. The rapper, the Jewish rapper, makes the anti-Israel song and says all of the kosher talking points. He says, they're the Synagogue of Satan. They're not worshiping Yahweh. They killed Jesus. The Jewish rapper is promoting all of these talking points because they have no teeth.
Jews in Jerusalem. Fuck the Synagogue of Satan, Hey, fuck the Synagogue of Satan. Jew not like us, we don't want no association. Giving Jewish people a misrepresentation and using Jerusalem just for gentrification. The devil in disguise, this shit identity fraud. You claiming my religion, but you don't believe in God. You killed Jesus Christ.
See? You don't believe in God. That's what the Christian-controlled op always says. No, they do believe in Yahweh, and that's the driver of the Torah and Zionism and the Moshiach and everything. It's Yahweh. Yeah, Yehoshua, Joshua, seriously. Hear this guy? So the Jewish guys and all the Q-tards and all the idiots promote the Synagogue of Satan, Jews killed Jesus, they don't believe in God lines, which is completely missing the whole point.
You claiming my religion, but you don't believe in God. You killed Jesus Christ and you killed hip-hop. My good Jewish people.
What a line. You killed Jesus Christ and you killed hip-hop. Okay? JQR in a nutshell right here, right? They're like based. They think this guy is telling the truth and is more based than me, these idiots.
Religion, but you don't believe in God. You killed Jesus Christ and you killed hip-hop. My good Jewish people, it's time to drain the swamp. Exposing the snakes in the grass and the hypocrites. Eliminate all the pedophiles and degenerates.
All right. Am I proving my point that this doesn't work?
And I'm like, really? Like, they killed God. And I'm like, really? Like, they killed God.
Killed God. Supernatural God slayers. They're central to they're the villains, but they're central to the story, and they had to do it, otherwise you wouldn't be saved and washed in the blood and have your sacrificial atonement. You wouldn't have your sins forgiven. Christians think that Jesus being killed by the Jews is the most important thing to ever happen. And yet, the leading anti-Jews, this is the stupid bullshit that they say. While worshiping their God, bowing to their Messiah, and believing their prophecies.
And I'm like, really? Like, they killed God. And I'm like, really?
Just not going to cut it.
And the actual God. All right. So if atrocities are made by a group of people that say to be part of a religion, is all the religion tainted? Like, is all the people that follow that? No, right? So I would say that even though that's horrible that happens, and that's a horrible thing that has gone in history about killing the Jews because they killed Jesus, right? As a, like, I don't know, like revenge
Correct.
type of way.
It wouldn't mean that the religion is a false religion.
Yeah, it wouldn't mean that.
I know I talk about this all the time, but having Greenblatt up here saying it like this, and Christians, we'll probably go look at this, and all these Christians will be like, oh, based, yeah, nothing they hate more. Yeah, Cicero is anti-Semitic. Adamixion says, Christians are so easily duped into being controlled opposition. The Greeks wrote about how terrible Jews are before Christianity existed. Exactly my point. See? He's literally like pretending to hate something and talk about something, and it, like, reverse psychology, easily manipulated cattle goyim, you guys all fall for it. Just a little simple reverse psychology is all it takes. Oh no, there's nothing we hate more than you worshiping our God. It's all it takes.
Don't you get it? You gotta use reverse psychology. That sounds too complicated. Okay, don't use reverse psychology. All right, I will.
All right. We got more. I really want to find the NTG clip. Let me tell you. We'll play this while I'm looking for it. Greenblatt, it's anti-Semitic trope, and the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism says dual loyalty, claims of dual loyalty. Here's this guy calling himself our, refers to Israel and says our, and then he goes, oh, I shouldn't say that. No, you consider yourself, all your job is to do is to defend Israel.
National anthem.
And Jews everywhere. From all the truth that is ever said about them. And they get away with it because of the lies, because of the Christian-controlled op failed talking points that are so easily disproven and debunked and dismissed. They're the perfect opposition.
Think about this. The national symbol, let's say, of Hezbollah is a rifle. That's what's on their flag. The national symbol of Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran, is a sword. That's what's on their flag. The national symbol of Israel is the shield. It's the Star of David. The symbol of our people is not a weapon of war. It's an instrument of defense. The thing that most embodies our entire ethos is not harming others. It's, again, creating a better world. This is fundamental to our tradition for thousands of years. And so the idea that our national anthem would be the Hatikva, would be the hope, I should say it's the Israel's national anthem. So the idea that our national anthem would be the Hatikva, would be the hope, I should say it's the Israel's national anthem. Think about this.
We know you consider yourself an Israeli at heart. We know. You're not a true Zionist if you don't, actually, is what Herzl said. It's killing me that I can't find the Marjorie Taylor Greene clip. Really bothering me right now. Here, we'll do this one. Rabbi just has a laugh. They don't see you claiming to kill them for them killing Jesus as a threat. They're not scared Jesus is going to float down and cast them into the lake of fire.
How stupid. I always wonder how dumb this goyim sometimes can be. Like they say, you killed our God. That means he wasn't a god.
Yeah, and he's not actually dead. He just had to do it. God's plan.
Hive Tyrant 36 sent $5 on Rumble. I don't see any donations, so we must have a lot of Jews in the audience. Teehee.
Seems like it. Yeah, a lot of small hats in the chat. I'm noticing a lot of small hats in the chat today, pinching their shekels for sure, as usual.
Kill a god, you know, man. How stupid you could be. You killed our God. Who was your God? JC. If it was God, we could kill him. I always wonder how dumb this goyim sometimes can be. Like they say, you
so dumb. So dumb. How dumb can these goyim be? How can I not be happy when I see billions of goyim bowing down to one Jew tonight, blaming them for killing a Jew? How can I not be happy, he says. All right, we got to find this. Look at this. Oh, yeah. Do they love to draw attention to it? Yes, as I'm always pointing out, they do. Why? Because it works. That's why. New York City bus driver allegedly held students captive on the way to school and claimed Jews killed Jesus in anti-Semitic rant. Only lunatic psychos that abuse children are screaming about Jews killing Jesus. There's your vibe. White Stag
White_stag
confirmed.
sent $5 on Rumble.
Not Jewish.
Not Jewish, Dono.
Okay, how can I find the clip of the guy saying MTG? I know. It's this guy's Twitter. That's what I'll do. I'll do a clip on that. Sorry, guys. Here, let's play a clip for a second while I look for this. Listen to the new Christian Kabbalah song by Evan. This is my type of music.
Last Shabbat, I was cleaning Master Shapiro's library. I was drunk on the blood of Christ. I was celebrating one in my midst.
Drunk on the butt of Christ.
Last Shabbat, I was cleaning Master Shapiro's library. I was drunk on the blood of Christ. I was celebrating one in my midst. It was to serve the ultimate light to the nations. After my 7th bottle of kosher wine, I was completely trashed. Stumbled into a bookshelf, and the Zohar fell onto the floor. Christian Kabbalah, foreskin greatly anger Hashem. Christian Kabbalah, we must curse those who curse the Jews. I picked up the Zohar, I knew it was a sign from Hashem. As I begin to read, every word was whiter than the last. Master Shapiro was going to Israel to pick out a beachside property in Gaza. He would never know the book was missing. I stayed up for days and nights reading the Zohar's mystic secrets until I felt myself going insane. Christian Kabbalah, foreskins are the mark of the beast. Christian Kabbalah, we must curse those who curse the Jews.
Yeah, that's my type of music. Badass solo, cool drum beats. Here's the clip I'm looking for. This is why they do it, right here.
Schneider, but that's not where we're... There is one thing that is uniting the left and the right, and that is Jews. This is not just a problem on the left. Go look what's going on social media on the woke right. It isn't just some Nazis in a basement anymore. Okay? Marjorie Taylor Greene is holding up the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act because she wants to be able to say the Jews killed Jesus.
See how they use this? How they exploit this to their benefit? See how they always harp on this? And they're winning, and all the Christians come to their aid, and they don't go along with your Jews killed Jesus derangement?
So this is bringing up the anti-Semitism anymore. Okay? Marjorie Taylor Greene is holding up the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act because she wants to be able to say the Jews killed Jesus.
How did you come up with the terminator?
So this is a problem in both of our houses, and pretending it is not is one of the reasons why we're not cleaning it up, because we're just saying, oh, you know, you over there or you over there.
All right, you get the point. You get the point there that I'm making. Look at this, Jonathan Greenblatt. So remember I mentioned on yesterday's show we've had a lot of new interviews with Jonathan Greenblatt, and there's been a lot of viral clips that I've been covering, and I commented that it's very odd that for the first time ever we're seeing journalists do interviews where they push back or ask Greenblatt tough questions. Usually it's just, you know, propaganda campaign, whatever he wants, softball questions. And then now apparently he's saying that the journalists are anti-Semitic. One of the ones from the New York Times here, he retweeted this post. Only at the New York Times could a journalist lecture ADL's Greenblatt on anti-Semitism. No, they only can lecture us all day about it. Tell us what we can and cannot say. and argue that anti-Zionism has nothing to do with it, would they push this line of questioning at any other minority group? Or is this treatment only reserved for Jews? Hey, asking questions? Disagreeing with anything we say? Critical of us? And he shared it. Oh, the New York Times is anti-Semitic. Asking me any difficult questions. That's how weak they are. Look, here's one of the most influential Christians in the country. Goes on all the biggest Christian shows and networks and mega churches and best-selling author. Ultra-Zionist. Happy merchant meme man. Rabbi Jonathan Cahn.
Pete Rules 247 sent $10 on Rumble. Haven't been able to catch a show live recently, but here's a $10 for my tithe. Pay your tithe to the Gorshiak. Keep it up.
That's 10 shekels, though, not $10. Thank you, Pete Rules.
So he can.
Let's hear our favorite mercher friend in his all black.
What on earth happened to Candace Owens? She's now raging against Israel.
Hold on. Very suspenseful music. I'm already feeling the angst of this Christian anti-Semitism. Tell me more. This is a real Christian. If anybody's a real Christian, it's this guy. He's got the real Christian influence.
What on earth happened to Candace Owens? She's now raging against Israel, against Judaism, against Jewish people. She's now accusing Israel of being a, quote, cult nation. And what does the dragon have to do with all this? Candace Owens came on the scene as a conservative commentator, a celebrity on Fox News, then the Daily Wire, but she has of late increased...
And PragerU got totally famous from a bunch of Jewish Zionist networks.
Turned her whole everything. I'm not speaking about her motives or her intentions, but what's coming out of her mouth. She has increasingly turned to the dark side, coming out as an enemy of Israel, an enemy.
This face in an all-black suit is going to tell you about the dark side. The Sitra Atra, the Sitra Akra, the evil other dark side, the Esau side, the dark side. Very Kabbalistic undertones, the dark side.
Of Judaism, an enemy of the Jewish people.
Enemy of Judaism makes you on the dark side. You are Amalek and you will be destroyed. It can't oppose Judaism. Can't oppose God, the God that chose them. Why is this normalized? That we're evil if we're against their supremacist, chosen, rule the world religion.
Mouth. She has increasingly turned to the dark side, coming out as an enemy of Israel, an enemy of Judaism, an enemy of the Jewish people, yet all the while claiming to be a Christian. What has happened to Candace Owens is actually ancient in a new form. It's the oldest hatred in the world. Candace Owens is the latest host or vessel of it. The Bible explains it. It says there's a
vessel, klipa, vessel, the Kelly pot, shattered vessels. The darkness of the Kelly pots. More Kabbalistic undertones. Dude, there's spell casting going on here right now, guys. This language, this Kabbalistic language, this dualistic language is spell casting.
There's hatred in the world. Candace Owens is the latest host or vessel of it. The Bible explains it. It says there's a dark entity that exists to destroy the Jewish people.
What is Greenblatt just describing a minute ago? Oh, the virus that's inside of everybody that boils up. Just like their prayer at Passover. In every generation, the Goyim rise up to destroy, to genocide them. See Through It All says she's just there to discredit real grievances against the Jews. That's right. We covered last stream. She's talking about they're actually not Jews. They don't believe the Torah, and they're Khazarians. That's what she told us with her big over 20,000 like. That reminds me. There was another tweet with like 40,000 likes the last I saw it that said, our lives are worth nothing. We're worthless without Jesus.
Heil Chow sent $10 on Rumble.
Oh no.
Hello Adam. I got laid off this morning. Still wanted to show some support. I'm union, so I'll be back to work soon. Okay. Now I get to watch the stream live. Keep doing what you do.
Well, that's cool. That's the silver lining. But yeah, I hope you find another job soon.
Zorndareedem sent $5 loving the scripting on this narrative. Grabbing some popcorn for this great theater. What a load of nonsense.
Yeah, kosher Judeo matrix theater. That's what this Abrahamic circle jerk that we witness every day is.
It says there's a dark entity that exists to destroy the Jewish people. You see, Israel exists to fulfill the purpose of God. So that means there's going to be a war because the enemy, or the devil, exists to destroy and stop the purpose of God. So,
see, standing in their way makes you the devil, and they're justified to burn you at the stake or genocide your whole nation or whatever it takes. Because you're an enemy of God, and they speak for God, and he chose them. Imagine falling for this shit. Why are Christians LARPing along with this Jewish bullshit?
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
You guys notice it.
he's going to war against the children of Israel to do everything he can, to slander them, to fame them, seek their destruction. He'll use every mouthpiece, any vessel he can.
Esoteric named his kid Zohar? Wow.
What on earth happened to Candace?
What on earth happened? Christianity is a serious problem. Let's check in with the latest with another real Christian with the real influence that speaks at mega churches and goes on all the big shows and has millions of followers. Just one of many.
If I found
the one who's not censored and shadow banned and suppressed and debanked everywhere.
If I have found grace in your sight, show me now thy way, that I may know thee, that I may find grace in your sight, and consider that this nation is thy people. By the way, that's still covenant before God today. There still is people. Nothing's changed. Stop believing stupid TikTok videos. Tucker Carlson is a...
Even Nick says that their covenant is still valid.
Stupid TikTok...
Nick Fuentes.
Stop believing stupid TikTok videos. Tucker Carlson is a wicked man that hates Jews. And if you don't like that, there's 8 exits in this house. You can walk out anytime you jolly well please.
Hey, I just saw Chris Brunette like the tweet. If you're watching, Chris, you could see how passionate I am about this issue and why I see it such a red herring. Remember we talked on this? Didn't intend on having any... not a contestable interview and have any drama, but we did talk about that.
This church will never tolerate Israel hate and Jew hate. You hear me? Ever. Ever, ever, ever. We will be a safe haven during days of persecution to the Jewish nation right here in this church. If it's the last thing that we do, and if that burns down the building, I got the matches. Let's roll at dawn. Praise God. The biggest miracle in the Bible is not the parting of the Red Sea. It's the fact that the Jewish nation still exists. And the only reason they exist, even in their sin, even in their rejection, even in their rebellion, because they've been blinded until the fullness of the Gentiles comes in. Even in that, they still...
Blinded until the full... It's all God's plan. Christians getting off on the Jews rejecting Jesus is like literally what they're supposed to do. This is the whole charade. The big fighting over the Messiah drama doesn't get more Jewish than fighting Jewish infighting with 2 Jewish sects over who the Messiah is. And this is just one of the guys that's like big on social media. Think for how many decades, how many hundreds of years there's been churches all across the world with guys talking like this, especially in America.
Still carry a presence. That's why terrorists can't destroy them. There's no missiles this side of hell that can take out Jerusalem.
Brother BB sent $5 on Rumble. I sent you a DM of Jonathan Greenblatt saying Jews shouldn't intermarry.
We played that yesterday. I saw that. Yeah. Yep. Such a hypocrite.
They can't.
That's what gave me the idea to have the European birthright trip.
Cipher sent $5. That's honestly blackpilling to watch.
This is blackpilling to watch? Just think about how many churches with pastors that aren't on the internet are just saying this to how many millions throughout the years?
And not, no matter how much they try, surround Israel and destroy it. Because Isaiah 55:4 says, no weapon formed against Israel shall prosper. We quote that for ourselves, and it's cute, but it belongs to Israel.
Music. Maybe I should get some piano Christian background music, and then that'll help me de-brainwash the Christians.
It's a covenant promise before God.
Before God. It's a covenant before God. That reminds me, I recorded a song, a new Washed in the Blood song to play. Where is it? I want to play a little of that. That's funny. I don't see it. Not this one. Oh, there it is. I see it.
You damn right I love the Jews. Absolutely. 100%.
Because I'm a Christian. Here it is. Here's a little of this. Just want to get you guys in the spirit.
All right, here we go.
We need that blood. Thank you for the blood of the Jews.
$5 on Rumble. Christianity is psychological slavery, designed to cripple our spirituality, our souls, to make us forget who we are, and so we will mindless serve the agenda of the small hats.
Give us your magical Jewish blood, my king. I love the diversity in this video also. Jewish blood. Give some of that Yom Kippur goat blood. Give some of that lamb blood. Some of that Passover blood. You be free from your passion and pride. It's a Jewish blood magic, folks. Let's call it what it is.
Here we go. There is power, wonder-working power.
Good genes. They got some good genes. All right.
Are speaking
to the first one. I don't know how much I can watch of her. She just did a big podcast. I'm sorry, but is this really who we're bringing on to defend the This is the face of anti-Zionist, of anti-Christian Zionism now? Like, imagine being a little Catholic boy and having this woman scold you and beat you and wag her finger in your face saying, you better bow down to your Jewish Messiah, boy. Every knee will bow. Salvation is of the Jews, boy. Your Christian sister. Dude, this mustache is unacceptable to be on Tucker Carlson. Yeah, a lot of people, it does look like a he. We'll do that's a man, baby.
Someone like Ted Cruz, just like many Jews are protesting and saying not in our name, there has to be.
I don't want to say it, but this face almost makes
by
me.
The Christians in America, because
almost
these Christian Zionists are speaking in our name. Someone like Ted Cruz is saying and doing what he's doing because he's following a Christianity that is not the Christianity of the Holy Land.
Oh, not real Christian. Not a real Christian. That's going to stop him. We haven't heard that one before. A Jewish man in a costume.
Commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel? We are commanded to support Israel.
It's a heretical belief.
What is Christian Zionism?
It's sort of this cruel bargain they have going with Israel, because basically what they say that they're going to be swooped up into heaven, right? And then there's going to be 1,000-year kingdom, and then there'll be the end of the world and the judgment by Christ, and he'll come back. This is a false. It was condemned as a heresy in 3.
This lady is going to convert so many. She's going to set so many Christians on the right path. This woman, if anybody's going to reach all the Christian Zionist boomers, this is it. Yeah, looking like she's in a hefty bag, like she's in a trash bag or something, with a mustache and a big old chipped tooth. This is going to get it done.
81.
This is the secret weapon. Oh, no.
Because basically, there is no 1,000-year millennium to come. No 1,000.
Well, actually, they got their Jewish end times prophecy wrong. So actually, and I disagree on interpretation. So I think that's going to stop it. Well, actually, we're the new Israel, so your Israel's not real. I don't acknowledge it. Okay, they're still there. They're still there, and you can't convince everybody else. It's, oh my God, right, see through it all? They just can't overcome the Schofield footnote. That Schofield Bible footnote is so powerful to overcome the Jewish hijacking of the footnote. Oh yeah, Tucker, CIA, Zionist gatekeeper, right? Attacking Nick Fuentes. Well, he shills the shroud and he shills Jesus. So what does that tell you? Tucker got attacked by demons in his bed. Did she look like this? Did the demons look like that?
Tales of the Levant sent $5. I had Suno I make me an Odin worship song with the same style as these hypnosis style that Hillsong United and other megachurches use. Feel free to use it as background music to hypnotize these cucks out of their Jewish religion.
We need some hypnotic music to reach the Christians. See through it all says one footnote to rule them all. Yeah. The Bible is so clear, and God's message and the unbroken chain and the true church, and just the footnote, it all crumbles down with the footnote. Somebody needs to make the meme. Okay, meme makers, who's out there? This is a good meme. There's a meme where there's like a huge monster character, and then there's like a little guy with a sword, and then the little guy with the sword is going to be Schofield footnote, and then the big monster is going to be like 2,000 years of church history being taken out by the one footnote that cannot be overcome. You guys know the meme I'm talking about, right? Let's go. Who's on that right now? I know you guys, the meme masters are out there.
Period. We are in that time period now. It's a false belief there.
So basically they're arguing.
You're all false beliefs. We can't have two Jews fighting over their both false beliefs. The whole thing's false, then no matter what, you're false. Come on. They say you're false. Do you not get that?
In that time period now, it's a false belief there.
So basically they're arguing is that Jesus coming the first time wasn't enough?
Yeah, and it's like, in a way, it's denying.
No, they're not. Christian Zionists don't say Jesus coming was. Every Christian has to agree it wasn't enough. Jesus has got to come back to finish the job, finish the rest of the prophecies. Satan's in charge of the world. Tucker's like, let's talk about the Shroud of Turin and the demons attacking me, and Alex Jones is a prophet. Like, hey, where's any big right-wing platform to talk about how the Bible's obviously just Jewish myths? Can anybody have a conversation that Jesus is just a Jewish myth and the Messiah is meant to rule the world? Can anybody just... No, it's too much? Total Jesus blackout? No, Tucker's not dumb. This is on program.
There.
So basically they're arguing is that Jesus coming the first time wasn't enough?
Yeah. And
it wasn't. He's got to come back to finish the job. Prophecies have yet been fulfilled. Peace on earth. Anybody done the meme yet?
It's like, in a way, it's denying the Messiah.
And they could just say, oh, well, Jesus said he's going to judge whoever persecuted his brethren. So if you hate the Jews, you're hating Jesus. You're denying Jesus. Okay, touche. They could say the same shit. All right, let's hear some more. Ted Cruz's Christian Zionism is killing Christians in the Holy Land. And this is who they chose to be the figurehead to win over the world for the true Christianity.
Wept. It's where Christ wept. And
let's hear.
Why do American Christian churches send money to a government that does this to Christians?
Well, I think the ones that send money that support the settlements are obviously the Christian Zionists. There's an organization called Christians United for Israel, Pastor John Hagee. I was in Washington a few weeks ago because, they had a conference in Baltimore. So it's slowly growing an awareness by other Christians in America that...
Dude, what's with this voice? This voice is sounding... This whole look is looking very non-binary. What is going on here? Is this a boy that got castrated as a little kid, a eunuch? Is this actually a eunuch just hanging with the nuns? Something is going on here.
Just like many Jews are protesting and saying, not in our name, and Jewish, the Jewish voice for peace, there has to be much more done by the Christians in America.
It's a man, baby. To admit she is rather mannish. Well, no offense, but if that is a woman, it does look like she was beaten with an ugly stick.
Austin said it, not me. Sorry. Yeah, you go to church. These young guys, these young Zoomers think they're going to become trad cats and go to church, and this is they're going to go find a nice wife at church, and they go to church, and this is what they find right here. This is all the girls look in church these days.
America, that just
online, you'll find the hot Christian
Tales of
girls
Bull event sent
trying to grift
$5.
and
Send
make
it in
money
the
off you
DMs.
idiots.
Smiley face emoji.
Send to the DMs. All right.
many Jews are protesting and saying, not in our name, and Jewish, the Jewish voice for peace. There has to be much more done by the Christians in America because these Christian Zionists are speaking in our name. Someone like Ted Cruz, Senator Cruz, is saying and doing what he's doing because he's following a Christianity that is not the Christianity of the Holy Land. It's not the Christianity of a Catholic or an Orthodox or traditional Christian.
Oh, not Christian.
It's a heretical belief.
What is Christian Zionism?
Mm-hmm. As far as I understand it, they believe in the idea of the rapture. They believe that it's sort of this cruel bargain they have going with Israel, because basically what they say that they're going to be
this nun has the testosterone of the
heaven,
average groper,
right? And then there's going to be 1,000-year kingdom, and then there'll be the end of the world.
Hey, a bunch of more Jewish apocalyptic mental illness. We can't let that lead the opposition against Christians. Well, actually, the millennial reign happens after the Antichrist comes, and then Jesus floats down in the cloud. So they're actually heretical and not wrong. Like this, we can't have the crazies opposing the crazies opposing the crazies. That's anti-Zionist Christians supporting the Zionist Christians supporting the crazy rabbis. We can't have the crazies opposing the crazies opposing the crazies.
And the judgment by Christ, and he'll come back. This is a false. It was condemned as a heresy in 381.
Zordaredim sent $5. Where is the hunch in this guy's back?
Yeah, this is the hunchback of Notre Dame. He joined the nunnery.
There's no 1,000-year millennium to come. No 1,000-year period. The end. We are in that time period now, and so it's a false belief there. And
so basically, what they're arguing is that Jesus coming the first time wasn't enough.
Yeah, and it's like, in a way, it's denying the Messiah. As an Orthodox Christian, the most important thing in my life is that we receive the body and blood of Christ, and we prepare ourselves to receive that body because Christ came.
Prepare yourself for that body, prepare yourself for those washboard Jesus abs to come inside you with the Holy Spirit. Their whole purpose is to drink the blood and body of Christ, your Jewish Messiah. Like, this is just
came as God and as man. And if you read John, it's actually 6:66. First, he says, "Take, eat. This is my body, and drink. This is my blood."
Satanic.
And many people
confirmed Eucharist. The cannibalism of the Bible is satanic. Sorry, you couldn't put it together. John 6:66. Oh, really?
People that heard the saying and found it to be a hard saying and turned away from him.
Yes.
So everybody was Jewish then, right? But some believed and some didn't. And some continued to.
And you all follow the Jews that did believe. The Jews that you think are Jewing right.
Follow only the law. And some said, and Christ superseded the law. He said there's something more than that law. I am the law. I fulfill the law and the prophets. We believe in the Feast of the Transfiguration on Mount Tabor. It takes place near Nazareth. I've been there many times. And in our icons, in our images, you see Moses and you see Elijah.
Ooh, look at those. Ooh. So she's cutting herself? What, suicidal? Those are some chunk arms, dude. Which species is this from Star Wars? What are they called? Jabberwockies? Is she a Jabberwocky?
Jesus, because the law and the prophets have been fulfilled in Jesus Christ. He came and said, "I'm the church, I'm your salvation." And you know what I think often about is where I lived in Mount of Olives, St. Mary Magdalene Convent. Right above it is a Catholic monastery called Dominus Flavit. Christ wept.
Jabba the Hutt.
It's where Christ wept. And I think of it often now because to some degree with Muslims, to a lesser degree, because they came from the Christian sensibility, but he's weeping over the people that didn't see him, that didn't understand who he was. And so they follow only the law. And I think that's why you see these are people that can somehow justify allowing for the starvation and ethnic cleansing of so many people. Because think of the stories from the Gospels.
I think that is what I was thinking.
Where Christ heals the man with the withered hand.
Yes.
And he's looking behind him are the Pharisees. And he's grieved at their hardness of heart because he was healing, doing a work on the Sabbath day. And that was against the law. And so now these Christians of wrong believe that they need to rebuild the temple as part of their plan. So they believe that the current state of Israel, which has nothing to do with the biblical Israel, is needed to be built up so that then somehow they can restore and build that temple, fulfill an obligation of the law. And the price of that.
I love how they say nothing. It's got nothing to do with the ancient Israel. I mean, it's a bunch of Jews thinking that they fulfilled prophecy so they can do their temple sacrifices again. Like, what is this? Oh, it's not the real Israel. Like, yeah, there is no fucking real Israel to begin with. But they're there, and they're rabbis, and they're trying to rebuild the temple and do their sacrifices, and they think they're Israel. So, I mean, isn't that good enough? Like, be like, well, they're not real Israel. Like, convince all the Christians of that, because they all know it's Israel.
They're willing to forego the compassion that Christ talked about and allow people to be starved and wiped out. And Christians in America have to understand.
Or a Fremen. Somebody said a Fremen. That's funny.
Both people who support the state of Israel, who are Jewish, and those Christians who think they're doing something in the name of Christ when it's far from the name of Christ, and it's actually causing the end of the Christian population in the Holy Land. It's going to be, the numbers have dwindled. Now we're getting to the small thousands. I just received a call the other day. Jacob's Well.
Is that because of the Jews or the Muslims, though? Christianity was conquered by Islam in a lot of these places.
Well, is in the large city of Nablus, in the center of the West Bank, which has been grievously raids take place all the time, and it's very difficult. But what happened the other day was...
Is she from Gaza? What is this? Who is this? Who thought this was a good idea? Is this like a famous known person, or is this just like a nobody that Tucker decided like was his secret weapon?
That a Christian-run factory. In Nablus, there's about 600 families, around 600 Christians, a number of churches, and Jacob's Well, which is a very important site to us. We always go there on a pilgrimage when we can. And their factory, no warning, no permit. First, on June 26th, I believe, the Israeli army came in and confiscated some of the factory equipment. And then 2 weeks later, they came and blew up a big portion of the factory. So how are people supposed to have they gave no reason. There was no permit. They have lawyers. There has been, as far as I know, to this date, no court order, no reason. And the only thing, I mean, quickly what popped into my head, because it is a metal making factory. Okay, they must be using it to make weapons, right? These are Christians who have been there for decades, the centuries, I think, even the family. And it's a well-known business. All right. And no order was given. And I almost feel a little worried about saying anything, because I don't.
So the Christians are having that. And then we got Shmuley's daughter here.
And it's all centered around conspiracy theories. Israel, kill us. They created myths around us. Conspiracies that no one...
Look at what she highlights, by the way. Look at what she
could ever disprove, because there was no proof to begin with. Did you know that Jews killed God? How does one kill God exactly? It doesn't matter. Just trust us. The Jews really did kill God. Did you...
Great. So we got some Aryan-looking Jewish girl making fun of Christians for killing God. Making you look like idiots.
You know that Jews have horns and that they're really demons in human bodies? Well, how do you know that? What's your proof? It doesn't matter. It does. Just trust us. Jews are demonic and satanic. Trust us. Did you know that Jews are rejected by God and that God hates them until they convert to Christianity? Really? What's your proof? Because I remember God giving the Jews the Torah and calling them his chosen nation. It doesn't matter. Just trust us. You don't need any proof. God hates them. They are rejected. The Catholic Church created a paranoia around Jews that could never be disproved, which led to Jews being tortured in Europe for 2,000 years, culminating in the Holocaust.
See, she knows what she's doing, focusing on this.
The Holocaust did not happen out of nowhere.
She's up here
it came
doing
after
this.
2,000.
It's because it works. See through it all. Says Christians are destroying us with everything they do. I say it's so clear. It's so clear how this game plays out. Is it not clear? Her voice is a little annoying.
I don't know what the repercussions will be with that family because they have no recourse. Who do they go to?
Where's Ted Cruz in all this? Ted Cruz
Is she going to tell us that the Jews killed Jesus? She's like, why do they support him? They killed Jesus. I just saw somebody had a review of Mother Agapia Stephanopoulos, U.S.-born Russian Orthodox nun. Oh, another Russian Orthodox, huh? Tucker, another Russian? All right. Advocating Russian. Aren't Russian girls supposed to be hot? I guess she's not from Russia. Advocating for the rights of Christians in the Holy Land, she is known for her criticism of Israeli policies that negatively impact both Christians and Muslims communities in the region.
How he's a Christian. Mike Johnson is the Speaker of the House, talks about how he's a Christian. Well, they talk about it a lot, actually.
I think they have to. We have to. I'm not sure that it can be done by. We have to battle AIPAC and the Christian Zionists by the Christians standing up, say, not in my name. We can't be doing this. So if they're getting money from these organizations, then Christians have to have enough concern.
I love how Christians will be like, hey, no hijabs around our... Christians are like, those Muslims and their hijabs not compatible with the West. We're a Christian nation. We're Christians. And then like, this is how the Christian dresses. This is how the Russian Orthodox nun dresses and all these nuns dress. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm against the burqas and all that stuff too, and the forcing to cover all the women. But it's just funny that the Christians are doing the exact same thing. The weird Russian Orthodox preacher guy that had the weird hump thing too. Like, what are they doing? EU tranny voice? Oh, she definitely was. She's definitely not been with a man. Let's put it that way.
To say, I don't want this happening in my name.
No, and to my brothers in Christ.
Right, exactly. And not only it's the real people, the living stones that are there that keep the churches open, that keep things going, but also for our Christian legacy.
It's almost so bad that like it makes me think Tucker's working for the Jews to make anti-Zionist Christians look awful. Hypothetically, if Tucker works for the Jews and actually is working as controlled opposition to Israel, this would be a great Christian to bring on. The Jews are like, how can we discredit and turn everybody against the anti-Zionist Christians? How can we do it?
Put a chicken in, make it 93 cent, $30. Hi, Adam. Just getting those shekels in. That looks like a dude with Tucker lol.
Thank you, Habs, for the 30 shekels. Appreciate you, bro. Just like Judas betrayed Jesus for the 30 shekels. Great number. Thank you, Judas, for sacrificing Jesus. You had to do it. Yeah, the Jews are like, how can we discredit these anti-Semite Christians? What can we do? They're like, I know.
Put a chicken in, make it living gay.
Is that what they were going for with this? Tucker's like, how can I really stick it to these Jews and really straighten out that Ted Cruz and the Christian Zionism?
Put a chicken in, make it living gay.
There's Tucker's answer for it. Yeah, where's the hot Syrian Christian girl or something? Like, what is this? Sorry, but this is just the worst optics I've ever seen.
You know, we're supposedly a country based on a Judeo-Christian heritage, right? But so where is that Judeo-Christian heritage when you're destroying the very foundations of it? Saint Jerome translated the Bible in Bethlehem. The cells where he was at are under the Church of the Nativity. You know, the very roots of our Christian heritage are there, and we're letting it be destroyed. Not physically physically by killing the people, but also there's a wonderful person. When you talk about resistance, this all started with Hamas. So for the most part, I would say they're a resistance movement. They're simply people fighting for their people, trying to protect their land. And I don't know if we want to reach into the area of the whole problem is that it was never defined what Palestine is. The Oslo Accords took place, and then there was nothing to, there was area A, B, and C, and you didn't have a Palestine. So little by little, Israel just keeps taking over the land, like confiscating, building.
She really wants all the white Christians of the world to really give a fuck about this desert, these old Jewish buildings in the desert. Yeah, it's an outrage. Our history. White people are like, our Christian history. It's like the desert, far removed from your ancestors and your history in Europe. But yeah, it's like they care more about the Holy Land.
In the settlements, adding the checkpoints and strangling the life of anybody living there. Now I lost my train of thought. I'm going to say.
The state of Israel, is less than 80 years old, but that area is thousands of years old, controlled by various empires, as you've said, and then finally the British.
No, she doesn't pluck her mustache. She doesn't wax her mustache, Jack Stone, because Jesus doesn't care for the worldly flesh. Okay, she'll have no mustache in heaven. That's all that matters. It's vain to care about your appearance. She doesn't want to be. Pride is a sin in Christianity. So trying to remove that would be like a sin. It's a sin in her view to remove that mustache. That's, at the end of the day, that's what it is. It is a sin for her to shave that shit. Just like the rabbis. It's a sin to shave their beards. It's a sin for her to do it.
Up until 1948. During all that time, huge pieces of land were owned by various
beauty
Christian
is a
churches,
sin.
particularly in
That's
Jerusalem.
why she's covered up.
Do they still, what happened to that? Do they still own that land?
They own the land, but this is where it's sort of the a lesser kind of persecution. Is that,
no vanity. She doesn't care about her. She doesn't have time to wax her mustache, her manly mustache. She doesn't have time to do that. She's too busy reciting Jewish scriptures. She's too busy praying to the King of the Jews to shave off that little mustache there.
Use legal means or semi-legal means because you have land that was under the Ottoman Empire, and there might be some documents or certain leases, and they say, well, the lease is up now, we have to renegotiate it.
Yeah,
and
the Jews are like, let's put a woman in it and make it fake and gay, and let's make this the face of anti-Zionism. I wonder if she says they killed Jesus at all.
Have lost a portion of their land. Or they'll use middlemen and say, and it's sort of acts of deceit. Yeah. And they end up buying these front companies come and buy off some of the land, and you don't realize that it's going to not Christians or not to Palestinians and being used in another way.
In Jerusalem?
Primarily around Jerusalem.
Palestine is not sending their best right now with this one. I'm sorry. They're looking pretty cooked. If this is who they're resorting to, it's looking pretty cooked.
Jerusalem and Bethlehem, there's large chunks that have been taken. The Knesset sits on the.
I always said that was a little part of the problem. The Palestinian girls are all covered up and stuff, and it's a sin. It's a sin to put on too much makeup, or they don't have makeup in Gaza or something, and like they can't compete with all the IDF babes. Sorry, but it's just human nature. Sex sells. They need some. They need some Girls of Gaza calendars. Somebody should make a Girls of Gaza calendar. That'll help in the war with Israel. Babes of Hamas. A mole rat. I'm being ridiculous today.
Land owned by the Jerusalem Patriarchate.
What?
Yeah. Well, it was their land. Yeah. And they have a lease. They have a lease for it.
How did they get it?
Well, obviously they allowed them to have that. That was a legal operation that was done. Yeah, to have that.
Wait, is she talking about how the Orthodox Church leases the land of the Knesset? Is that what she just laughed off?
To not Christians or empire, and there might be some documents or certain leases, and they say, well, the lease is up now, we have to renegotiate.
Hamas hotties. There it is, White Stag. Hamas hotties. AI Hamas hotties fundraiser for Palestine. I'm not Muslim. It's not a sin if I do it. Somebody's going to steal that. Gazan Girls Gone Wild. Oh, my gosh. This is so funny. We need to make a bunch of mock memes in ChatGPT. Magazine girls, title Gazan Girls Gone Wild. Hamas hotties. I know she's not Palestinian. Yeah, Greek, possibly. Daughter of a Greek Orthodox priest, lived in Jerusalem for decades. I know she's not Palestinian, but you don't see hot Palestinian girls advocating for Gaza. That's the point I'm making, okay? It's just a joke. I'm just riffing here.
And suddenly the Christians have lost a portion of their land. Or they'll use middlemen and say, and it sort of acts.
Dude, where's the memes at? We're coming up with some gold memes on the fly today. Are you guys not on it? I'm giving you these gem meme ideas.
Of deceit. And they end up buying large.
Yeah, Greek women can be real hot. Oh, yeah.
These front companies come and buy off some of the land, and you don't realize that it's going to not Christians or not to Palestinians and being used in another way.
In Jerusalem?
Primarily around Jerusalem. Jerusalem and Bethlehem.
Gazans gone wild.
Taken. The Knesset sits on the own land owned by the Jerusalem Patriarchate.
What?
Yeah. Well, it was their land. Yeah. And they have a lease. They have a lease for it.
Okay. Ted Cruz responds. He says, "It is very sad that what has happened to Tucker. He now, interviewing a nun from the Holy Land is not allowed? He now routinely attacks Trump, shills for Iran, and doesn't bother to hide his all-consuming hatred for Israel. Tragic to talk to a non-Zionist Christian." This is the whole thing. Let's see what else they say here. Israel stealing of Christian land, Christians being killed, purpose of Hamas. The Temple Mount and Christian Zionists?
Jocelyn 8 sent $5 on Rumble. The Tetramorph. Man, lion, ox, eagle used in Orthodox Christianity, which supposedly represents Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, was lifted from the 4 main tribes of Israel which use the same symbols.
That's not the... I missed some of the symbols. That's not what's in man, lion, ox, eagle. Okay. Interesting. I'll have to look into that. Tetramorph. CIA Tucker is going rogue. Oh, Schofield Notes versus God's, you could say, God's true church, the true church of Jesus. Maybe that, or 2,000 years of church history. Or... yeah, the true church. Maybe that is the big beast. I don't know. What do you guys think? For the meme of the Schofield, the little guy with the sword, Schofield footnote, and then at the top it's going to be God's true church, the true church of Jesus, something like that.
Having their rights?
What happens on the Temple Mount? What is the Temple Mount? Can you explain what that is?
Well, the Temple Mount is the area where the temple existed at the time of Christ.
In Jerusalem.
In Jerusalem, right? Directly, I lived in the convent of St. Mary Magdalene on the Mount of Olives. Directly in front of me is the Dome of the Rock, and there's the old wall, the old...
Look at this retarded Christian. Says, "You're a cucked incel. Christ is king, huh?" Cucked incel, really? Little projection there. From the Groiper? Okay, dude.
The walls of the old city, and within that is the area where the temple had existed, right? There was also a Byzantine church at one point in the 5th century, because where the Dome of the Rock is where Abraham sacrificed.
Madam sent $10 on Rumble. I don't understand how people still believe this shit. Anyway, you rock.
Thank you. I know, it is amazing. It's amazing that Tucker, who is like one of the biggest influencers on the right, he had the biggest show in the world at Fox News, biggest news broadcast, and he's saying that he's attacked by demons and the Shroud of Turin and talking about all this Christian nonsense with all these guests, and then people still don't get it. All the big names now are shilling Jesus. Alex Jones, Tucker, Joe Rogan, and people still can't put it together.
Or was going to sacrifice his son Isaac.
Yeah.
So it's holy to all monotheistic traditions.
Yes.
And so on the left side, if you're looking from the convent where I was at, is the Wailing Wall. That's a portion of the temple that still exists, a wall. And so some, just like the Christian Zionists, the Jews want the temple rebuilt. So I know Christians who have been there who will take a sign and go take the crescent off the dome and say, we'll put a cross on there. It's natural to all of them to do. So there is this movement to rebuild the temple. All the time I was there, I heard about that. But
is she going to say that's Antichrist? That means the Antichrist is going to rule. Is she going to call it satanic? Let's go. What is she going to say?
And there was small movement of it.
But there's a mosque where the temple was.
Yeah, now it's Al-Aqsa Mosque. It's the third holiest site for Muslims in the world. And a lot of confrontations you have is because Israel will control getting in and out, being able to go there. So, or they'll say only men over 50 can go to the mosque.
The demons attacked Tucker so that he would do this interview. This was the demons. To keep the demons away, he had to bring this lady on. That's the deal. That's the bargain.
Jocelyn 8 sent $5 on Rumble. Judaism lifted the 12 tribes of Israel directly from the Babylonian zodiac, and the 4 main tribes are the same symbols as the 4 cardinal or fixed signs: man, lion, ox, and eagle. The Tetramorph.
Yep. So they copied it from the Babylonians. Is that what you said? Directly from the Babylonian zodiac. Yeah. Where's Liam in the chat? Where's our house astrologist, Liam? Yes, there he is. Yes, he says.
Today, and there's a lot of confrontations there, and people have been killed. So it is a mosque. Yeah, there's a functioning Al-Aqsa Mosque is there.
But so you can't build the temple with a mosque there.
No. And they say that they have the plans for rebuilding the temple and everything. And people like Ben Gvir, the minister who's a religious zealot, have gone on the Temple Mount. And it's a provocation. The area is controlled by religiously by Jordan, but there's an organization that's responsible for that area.
Okay, so you hear people say we're going to rebuild the temple, the third temple, but there's a mosque there. So what's the plan for the mosque?
Well, I guess it would be to blow it up.
And then you just said that's the third holiest site in
Islam, of course. Yeah. This would be a dark day.
This is like prophecy porn for Christians, by the way. Oh, they want to blow it up and like rebuild their temple and have an antichrist. Well, I guess our prophecies are coming true. I guess Jesus is coming soon. They get off on it. It is like conspiracy porn or prophecy porn. New term, prophecy porn.
So then what would happen if you blew up the third holiest site in Islam?
Well, you could probably answer that better than me. It certainly would ignite a great conflict in the world.
A biblical, if you will, conflict. Mm-hmm. A prophetic conflict.
I just want to say this out loud because people sort of blithely talk about it.
What we're really coming to, and I think that's the problem with the Christian Zionists is that what is your end game here?
Well,
their belief tells.
What is your end game? You all got the same end game. Prophecy unfolds and Jesus rules the world. You got the same end game. Come on.
This prophecy is how they enslave us.
Listen to your fellow Fremen. Is that how you say it? Fremen from Dune? Listen to your Fremen. That's how you say it, right? It's not Freeman. It's Fremen.
And that's okay. We want to have this third world war because we're going to be taken away. And we'll be okay. And we'll come back later after all the fighting's done. That's sort of basically what their theology tells them. And in the meantime, all the Jews are supposed to convert to their brand of Christianity or die in the conflagration.
And so I'm asking you this because you're a nun.
Right.
That's not a Christian. It's
not a Christian belief, no. Or precept.
Which part's not?
Huh. Any idea where that came from? That idea?
Wait, hold on. Russian Orthodox Church and Catholics believe that there's going to be an Antichrist and Jesus is going to come and destroy the Antichrist. They both believe that. What? Oh, just because you don't believe in the rapture? Like, they just criticize one little thing. Oh, well, we got the rapture wrong, but they still agree with all the rest of the apocalyptic bullshit. You guys notice this?
The rapture?
Yeah.
See?
Well, like I said, originally the idea of having the 1,000-year kingdom is a heresy that was in the early church. But the real push of all that comes from the 1830s. James Darby, Schofield, or John Darby, Schofield. It's a new theology that has no basis in the foundations of Christianity.
No basis in the foundations, but it's completely dominated. How about that? If there's no foundations, then how come they can't overcome the footnote? That stubborn footnote. It's just too much to overcome. God's word, God's church was so perfect and divine, but the footnote just threw a wrench in the whole thing. That satanic footnote.
It has nothing to do with it.
How do you think this story ends?
It depends on us. And that's why, maybe I part of me wants to have that message of that we have to do something politically. The Christians have to wake up and tell their because it's all in the hands of the United States. It doesn't matter what any other country in the world does. If the U.S. protects Israel, this will continue. And we will get to that conclusion of the denouement, which will lead to a third world war or something of that sort, for sure. So, but also in a spiritual sense, then we also have to recognize, what do we want to be as people? Do we want to follow the way of Christ? Or do we want to follow the way of a Christ who leads us to a better world? We live in this world as best we can in order to prepare for the world to come.
Oh my God. Okay, Rabbi, tell me more about your world to come, preparing for the world to come, for your messianic age. Dude, there is no daylight between rabbis and this nun. Really? Your world to come?
Not.
Olam haba, isn't that what it is? Should just say it in Hebrew for us. 131.
Christ? Or do we want to follow the way of a Christ who leads us to a better world? We live in this world as best we can in order to prepare for the world to come. Christ came and said, my kingdom is not of this world. So if you're truly a believing Christian,
you don't care about this world. This world's not important. Doesn't matter that you got a huge mustache in this world. Because the world to come, heaven is all that matters.
You want to do all the things that will put you in good graces with God when it comes to Judgment Day, right?
Yeah.
And
so she's going to be judged, so that's why she's got no time to fix that tooth or shave that mustache. Wow. Dude. None stole your appetite?
That doesn't mean rebuilding the temple. It means living like a Christian and trying to build a society that lives by Christian principles, and your government acting as one that.
What, you think all women should be dressed like this, prohibited from shaving their mustaches?
By Christian principles, and so that doesn't mean slaughtering other people.
Hey, I'm Kurt.
Leading to their cleansing.
Cleansing.
I really appreciate you taking this time.
I think that there's a lot. I appreciate you. I hope it does a little bit to open people's eyes. And I just want to end with one thing.
Of course.
No, everybody's
I think the only way,
their eyes.
there was the writer Ta-Nehisi Coates, who you may have differences on.
All right, we're going to skip that. We can't do that. Here, somebody sent this in. Is this from Life of Bronny? Yeah, you found her. You found the real footage. The mission of Greater Israel. How many Christians in the Holy Land support the government of Israel? I wonder if there's any more clips of this, but I've had enough of her. Sorry. 3.3 thousand likes. This guy gets it? 100%? Uh-oh.
I'm supporter.
Let's hear this guy. Oh, my gosh. We got an African with an English accent and an Israeli flag. What does Jesus have to do with all of this? What connects an African, an English accent? Here's a riddle. An African, an English accent, and an Israeli flag. What unites them all? Yeshua HaMashiach. She's got the same microphone as me, looks like.
Jocelyn 8 sent $5 on Rumble.
The phone.
Texts like the mold that have been written in place circa 1000 BCE confirms that the zodiac was primarily an agricultural calendar. Opportunistic Jews turned it into this anthropomorphized dogmatic abomination.
Mm-hmm. Well, they turned that into the 12 tribes of Israel and then the 12 disciples. Well, before the 12 disciples, there was the community document of Qumran, Council of the 12. All right, let's see this guy. Let's hear from our brother.
God bless Benjamin Netanyahu and his Likud and the IDF and the Mossad.
So I'm really interested by what you're wearing. So can you tell me a bit about...
It's going to be the future of Christianity, by the way. It's exploding in African countries and Asian and Latin American countries. There's going to be worldwide, universal Jew worship, Netanyahu worship.
God bless Benjamin Netanyahu and it's Likud and the IDF and the Mossad.
So I'm really interested by what you're wearing. So can you tell me a bit about this flag you're holding, and the cap, please?
I'm a Christian Zionist.
And what about your cap? It says "Make America Great Again." What's the significance there?
I was born a Trump supporter. When I came out of my mother's womb, I was a Trump supporter. It's in my DNA.
You see the recent B'Tselem report about calling what's going on in Palestine a genocide, and if not, what are your thoughts on that?
It's not genocide. This is what's happening. Fake news is the new money-making organization in the West. Fake news. People reporting lies.
We've seen Netanyahu has said that he denies that there's starvation going on in Gaza, but the UN and other international organizations have said otherwise. What do you think about that?
My love, what's your name again?
My name's Ava.
Ava. You're a woman.
My love. Settle down, buddy.
I'm not going to lie to you. The UN is a terrorist organization. Now, Eva, go home and look at the statistics of the UN since its formation. That's the only thing they've achieved.
As a woman, why is it more important for me to know that information?
Because, Eva, listen.
Ugandans for Christ.
A man is a warfare. A woman owns the world. Me, if I have this world, I'll give it to women.
Just to finally confirm, we've seen, reports in the BBC, we've seen reports in many channels across the UK. Are you saying that all of this is propaganda?
BBC is an Islamic terrorist sewage pipe. I'm telling you, what's your name again?
My name's Ava.
Ava, I'm telling you now, look, I don't lie to women because my job, when I see a woman, I don't lie to her.
So what do you think about the Israeli government? Do you think they just want the hostages back, or what do you think their intention is in Gaza?
Let me tell you something. God bless Benjamin Netanyahu and his Likud and the IDF and the Mossad.
Wow. Hey, looks like Christianity's really doing a great job saving England. England needs more Jesus. Have you seen these Christ revival movements in England? It's not a white person in sight at these things. Wow, Christianity sure is turning out great.
Jesus Christ! Oh, Jesus Christ, you're such a little bitch.
See what it all says. Christians are so retarded. Christianity is so retarded. Christians need the Jews to return to the land of Israel, rebuild the temple for the Antichrist. Then Jesus returns and slays him and takes the throne in Jerusalem. This is Jewish madness that cannot be tolerated any longer. I agree. Look at these guys.
So we have Christians, and then from what I've been able to do in the research today, it said 30 to 40 million, and then I saw 40 to 50, and I saw up to 56 million. So let's just say in the United States alone,
of people who believe dispensationalism,
evangelical Christians specifically.
Total evangelical Christians. Oh, gotcha.
And it says between 80 and 85% of all evangelical Christians in America are Christian Zionists. Have you heard of Rabbi Wein? He's from Chicago. He was a secular humanist.
Yeah, the guy was rizzing her with the "I don't lie to women." Yeah, we know what he was trying to do her.
In 1963, who really drove it home.
He's like, I'm your brother in Christ.
Another big evangelical preacher really drove home Christian Zionism. They said, guys, listen, we believe that our faith is over our deeds, but the only way we can show our true faith, I'm paraphrasing, is by supporting the Jews of Israel and doing everything we can that they can be empowered to fulfill the prophecy. And you ask, what prophecy is that? Well, according to them, they believe that Jesus was the Messiah. So what do they want? The Messiah to come back. How does the Messiah come back? First, we must have the Antichrist come. Well, how's that supposed to happen? Well, let's see. There's these people called the Jews who don't accept Jesus. So these Jews have to get their Holy Land back. Check. Part two, they have to go and rebuild the third temple so they can announce who the Messiah is. Now, whoever the Jews say the Messiah is, these evangelicals know that's in fact the Antichrist. The Antichrist, the false Messiah, is necessary for the Messiah to come back and slay him. So in essence, the Christian Zionists are saying, whatever you need, hurry up the redemption.
To help the Jews. That's what's so funny.
Simultaneously, the Jews that are the Zionist Jews specifically, who I guess don't believe much in it, say, well, we'll accept everything that you offer because we know that if this Messiah comes, that he will in fact exterminate all the pagans, and whoever's not exterminated will be our slaves. Simple.
Everyone's theology makes so much sense. It's crazy.
Is that right, John? Is that framing pretty accurate here?
Give or take. Yeah, give or take. Give or take.
Dude, Christians criticizing other Christians is just not going to get it done. It's just a Jewish circle jerk. Like, they got the prophecies wrong, but the prophecies are still right. No, they're not. You're still in it. This is exactly how it went down in Rome, by the way, when Christianity conquered paganism for Judaism. Watch this. Actual footage, dramatization.
Christianity is now official in Rome. Pagan temples are being destroyed. Don't worry, synagogues are safe. Christianity is now official in Rome. Pagan temples are being destroyed. Don't worry, synagogues are safe. Christianity is now official in Rome.
Real Bass Talk says, I think this guy is in Green Day. Yeah, is that Billy Joel Armstrong? Yeah, those eyebrows are definitely shaped up. That's funny. This is funny, too. This guy's pretty funny.
Your last time
he makes me laugh. Look at him pressing Alex Stein here. Oh, and by the way, I thought Alex Stein wasn't a Jesus believer, but he's on the Christ grift now, too. He says he believes in Jesus.
Not anymore. I've changed. I found Christ, but before that, I was all about the...
Found Christ. He became a big right-wing influencer, and then he found Christ. Christ is cha-ching. When you work at the Blaze, you got to shill Christ. The market is Christians. You got to shill Jesus. He got tired of the Christians calling him an anti-Christ Jew, so he's like, I believe in Jesus.
Not anymore. I've changed. I found Christ, but before that, I was all about to spread it and forget it.
You pretend to be white, but your last name is Stein, Jewish fuck. How long until you change your name?
First of all.
Dude, maybe I should like confront people on my show like that. Is that the energy you guys want to see? Is that Matan? Matan's pretty clever for his age. He makes me laugh, dude. The character really makes me laugh. Is he Jewish too? He cracks me up.
I was all about to spread it and forget it.
You pretend to be white, but your last name is Stein, Jewish fuck. How long until you change your name?
First of all.
How long till you change your name?
First of all, I'm not Jewish.
Your last name is Steinberg.
Yes, Stein, but
Steinberg
also means stone. It's also a German name. But
Steinberg is not a German name.
You're not technically Jewish unless your mother is Jewish. And my mom is not Jewish.
Hold on. I don't play that game where it's, my mother wasn't Jewish, so according to their religion, I'm not Jewish.
Okay, well, you don't understand Jewish magic. You don't understand Jewish magic. And
see, but you do because you're Jewish.
Well, maybe I'm using Jewish magic, but it doesn't matter.
What's the Jewish magic? You're not tricking me. I can see right through you like Hans Landa.
Okay, right.
Do you know any languages other than English and Hebrew?
I know Ebonics.
Mr. Stein.
I know Ebonics.
A Jewish guy who knows Hebrew.
That is so good. Dude, these jokes that how he always reads it off of paper, too. Do you know any languages besides English and Hebrew is hilarious. You Jewish fuck. He goes full Candace mode. He's like,
Jew, guilty, you're Jew, doesn't matter.
He's going full Candace.
Doesn't matter.
What's the Jewish magic? You're not tricking me. I can see right through you like Hans Landa.
Okay, right.
Do you know any languages other than English and Hebrew?
I know Ebonics.
Mr. Stein.
I know Ebonics.
A Jewish guy who knows Hebrew. See, you're playing stupid by doing like the one where you just use the...
How am I playing stupid?
You're going L'chaim.
Dreidel, I made you out of clay.
That's what I mean.
Dreidel, I will spin you all day.
Are you supposed to water the hobos?
Water the hobos. That was funny. That was funny. Everybody agrees that was funny. It's an Israeli Jewish kid?
Not anymore. True? I've changed.
All right. Inspiring philosophy. Responding to this girl on TikTok, this mythicist on TikTok. Let's see what she has to say. I haven't watched it yet.
Pontius Pilate is as sure as anything historical can ever.
Did Jesus even exist?
Yes.
Question scares a lot of people.
No, it doesn't.
Yes,
because the moment you start to unpack it, the
yes,
whole
it does.
thing just
If
starts
Jesus
to look
didn't
really
exist, if you're wrong and it's a myth,
John Dominic
your whole
Crossan
religion,
said,
your whole life
Jesus'
is a lie.
death by crucifixion under Pontius Pilate is as sure as anything historical can ever be.
Not letting me reset.
Gerd Ludemann said, Jesus doesn't.
Because the moment you start to unpack it, the whole thing just starts to look really shaky.
No, it doesn't. John Dominic Crossan said, Jesus' death by crucifixion under Pontius Pilate is as sure as anything historical can ever be.
Somebody says,
Gerd Ludemann said, Jesus' death as a consequence of crucifixion is indisputable.
Christians will swear up and down that Jesus was a real man, that he walked the earth.
So do historians.
So let's look at the facts. Number one, he was supposedly a Hebrew man, yet we call him Jesus, a Greek name, when his actual name should have been Yeshua or Yehoshua.
More likely it was Yeshu or Yeshu.
Oh, the Jewish name?
Why did it change? Why did the name get translated when proper names usually don't get translated?
Yeah, he read it in a book.
They don't get translated, they get transliterated, which is why my name Michael in French is Michel, but in Spanish it's Miguel. This is a common human practice, which is why it's not strange that Jesus' name was transliterated into Greek. And none of this shows that Jesus never existed. It has nothing to do with that question.
Number two, the entire New Testament
yeah, actually, shoot, it's not letting me pause this for some reason.
So everything that we know about Jesus is filtered through Roman eyes.
The Romans' main language was Latin.
Hold on, he's wrong about that. The name being Yeshua means Yahweh saves. Having a name that means the Savior is a suspicious, especially when he's rejected by Judas, who represents the Jews. And there's lots of other names like that. Actually, Joseph of Arimathea, Ara means like the best, like aristocracy. And Athea was meant disciple. So he's the best of the disciples. That's what that name actually means. The naming conventions gives it away that this is symbolic fiction. She should have saved the money she spent on the lips. Those could be natural.
Never existed. It has nothing to do with that question.
It does.
Number two, the entire New Testament was written in Greek, not in Hebrew or Aramaic. So everything that we know about Jesus is filtered through Roman eyes.
No. Jews could write in Greek too, so it's not Roman eyes. Wrong. See, this is why why we can't have girls on TikTok getting stuff wrong like this.
Romans' main language was Latin, and they did not write the New Testament.
And if you know your history, then you know that the Romans were master propagandists.
Oh my God, she's doing Caesar's Messiah. See, this is an easy knockout. He doesn't do a video responding to me. He doesn't do a debunk of me or Richard Carrier and their real arguments. No, he picks on the low-hanging fruit, the Caesar's Messiah, black TikTok girl that doesn't know what she's talking about. That's what he does. Inspiring philosophy.
Empire builders, colonizers literally did not just conquer land, they conquered narratives. We all know history is written by the winner.
Yeah.
And again, the Romans didn't write the New Testament, and Jesus and his disciples would have been able to speak Greek, as numerous historians have noted.
No. Numerous historians say they no.
Which I documented in this video.
Because the New Testament is in Greek and their direct quotes of the Septuagint, and some of the theology is dependent only on the Septuagint Greek translation of the Hebrew. It isn't impossible that they would have spoke Greek. We find some Greek in the Dead Sea Scrolls, mostly Hebrew and Aramaic, a few texts that are in Greek. But a lot of Christians try to say, no, it goes back to the Hebrew. It goes back to Aramaic. And it has to. There's Aramaic idioms in it and Hebrew idioms, they claim.
Video. And none of this
I mean, if Paul spoke Greek, then Jesus could have spoke Greek, hypothetically. I will say that. But to claim that's what everybody believes and says, though, that's not true.
Shows that the Romans invented Jesus. Several ancient writers spoke disparagingly about the Christian movement. It would have made no sense for the Romans to invent a man who created a movement who gave them so many problems.
Exactly. This is a debunk of Caesar's Messiah, which, of course, he's going after that low-hanging fruit. He doesn't go after the best Richard Carrier mythicist arguments. Or maybe he has, but maybe not the best ones. I don't know. I'd have to see. I don't know everything he's ever done. But of course, this is easy going after the low-hanging fruit. This is why these kosher conspiracies actually are counterproductive. Caesar's Messiah is counterproductive. Where's Big Tech? Is Big Tech watching this?
3, there are 0 writings from Jesus himself. Journals, no letters, no scrolls. Everything we have is about him and not by him.
Most people in the ancient world didn't write anything about themselves. That doesn't mean Jesus didn't exist, because we have so many other writers acknowledging that he existed.
4,
no, the Talmud's late, bro. Dude, come on. So many other writers. I love how he skips past that. Josephus, your proof is Josephus? Okay, address all of the counter arguments to Josephus then. Can we do that? How about the fact that Josephus was born after Jesus supposedly died and wrote after the Gospels and Christianity was already spreading and is not an independent attestation that he really existed as a historical figure? How about that? You can't just go, other people said so. Josephus and the Talmud, which isn't written until hundreds of years later and doesn't even describe the same Jesus story. See, this is weak shit.
0 writings from Jesus himself. Journals, no letters, no scrolls. Everything we have is about him and not by him.
Most people in the ancient world didn't write anything about themselves. That doesn't mean Jesus didn't exist, because we have so many other writers acknowledging that he existed.
There's no contemporary writer admitting he existed. None. Josephus is an interpolation. Pliny the Younger, Tacitus, these are late. These are 2nd century, and they're not confirmation, independent attestation of a historical figure. Come on, this is so easy to say. And to say the Talmud, it says he's stoned and hung on a tree. It's not even the same story as the Gospels. This is a polemic responding to Christianity. That's what the Talmud is.
4, the earliest Gospels were written decades after he supposedly died.
And that also doesn't mean Jesus didn't exist.
By anonymous actors, because Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were not actually written by those disciples.
The unanimous attestation from church fathers is that those are the 4 gospel authors, even though they were writing in different geographical regions.
Now, the church fathers said so. He's like, well, actually,
I read about it in a book.
The church fathers said that those are real, so that means they're real. No, she's right about that. They are anonymous, written in an unknown time, unknown place, unknown author, clearly written in a genre of fiction. There's no critical scholarship. There's no skepticism. There's no citing of sources. There's omniscient narration. Come on. It walks like a duck and looks like a duck and reads like a story. It's a story. It's a myth. You're in the genre of myth.
Even though they were writing in different geographical regions and not copying each other.
It's not until like 180 AD that we have any church father record acknowledging the 4 gospels by the names we know them today.
They still agreed on this basic fact that the 4 gospel authors were Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
No, church fathers 100 years later agreeing on something is not good proof. Good proof would be like the author saying, I am this person, I knew Jesus like this, I'm writing this in this place at this time. That's what normal, real historians do. Not anonymous, just like a lot of the books in the Old Testament are anonymous. Anonymous type of books like that. Come on. They agree.
5. You know Paul, the guy who shaped most of Christian doctrines, he never
knew
really
Jesus.
met Jesus in real life.
Yes.
His Jesus came from visions and dreams.
He met with Jesus's brother and close disciple Peter.
No. The brother... He said the disciple Peter. Look at this. This is a quick thing. Paul never uses the word disciple. He only knows of apostles, not disciples. Peter, there's never a verse where like Peter told me this about Jesus when he was with him on earth doing this thing. It's never in an earthly context.
are the four gospel authors. Even though they were writing in different geographical regions and not copying each other, they still agreed on this basic fact that the four gospel authors were Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
5. You know Paul, the guy who shaped most of Christian doctrines, he never really met Jesus in real life. His Jesus came from visions and dreams.
Avoiding the fact that the earliest layers of the New Testament is from Paul, who never knew Jesus and said he only knew about him in scriptures and dreams. And he said that because that's how you had authority as an apostle. That's the only way any of the other apostles knew about Jesus, was seeing him in God's hidden messages with the right interpretation by the elect in the scriptures. Paul mentioning, he doesn't treat James like the brother of Jesus, but mentioning him the Lord's brother, well, any Christian can be a Lord's brother. That was a designation within Christianity because everybody are fellow heirs and we're all children of God. Paul refers to, he uses the Greek word adelphos, I believe it is. He uses the Greek word for brother all the time, and every single time it's meaning a brother in Christ, not a physical brother. And Peter, he never places Peter on earth. When Paul describes the resurrection appearance to Jesus, that's the first time anybody sees him. And then he says, have I not also seen the Lord? Which is a giveaway that the only way people saw Jesus was in this supposed vision after the resurrection, the first time, and in the scriptures. Dude, this is so weak from IP. I hadn't watched this yet. I was expecting a little better. I didn't even know this woman was. I'm completely going into this blind.
5. You know Paul, the guy who shaped most of Christian doctrines, he never really met Jesus in real life. His Jesus came from visions and dreams.
He met with Jesus's brother and close disciple Peter, and he was able to confirm they were preaching the same message. So he would have had reliable information that
they're preaching the same message. So Paul says they added nothing to his message. They added nothing to my message. So he knew the brother and best friend of Jesus who followed him around, were his disciples in Jesus's ministry, saw him do countless miracles, but Paul doesn't write about any of those miracles or any details about a historical Jesus's ministry on earth. Paul writes in Galatians, as for those who were held in high esteem, meaning the apostles, the council at Jerusalem, whatever they were makes no difference to me. God does not show favoritism. They added nothing to my message. So you're telling me that he met the brother of Jesus and his best friend, but they added nothing to Paul's message who never knew Jesus? Do you see how all of this falls apart? Yeah, and he agreed that she's right. He did never meet Jesus, and that's very suspicious. Paul's describing a celestial, logos-like figure and clearly only learns about him from Scripture.
Jesus.
Paul says explicitly, I didn't learn about Jesus from any man, only from Scripture and Revelation. He's cooked here. It's over. It's over for Michael Jones. He's drowning.
Existed.
And yet his version of the story is what Christians follow today. Isn't that wild?
That's completely false. The story of Jesus comes from the Gospels, which Paul did not write.
6, the earliest.
No, you're wrong. Again, bad faith. Bad faith, IP. Paul wrote before the Gospels. The Gospels, especially Mark, are Pauline in nature. They expand on Paul. Paul's Gentile Christianity is what won out. We only have Paul's letters for the most part. They're all written by Paul. Where are all the other church letters? James. Oh, and by the way, he says James is the brother of Jesus. The canonical James, IP, as you know, doesn't identify himself with Jesus as the brother of Jesus in any way. Nor does he describe an earthly figure.
Comes from the Gospels, which Paul did not write.
6. The earliest artifact calling Jesus God is a Roman mosaic from the 3rd century.
Again, so what? That doesn't mean Jesus never existed. Look,
true.
if you want to hold to the whack job theory...
Hold on. Did she show...
Jesus God is a Roman mosaic from the 3rd century.
Again, so what? That doesn't mean Jesus never
I've never
existed.
made that argument also. This guy's gay for sure. He's got the worst cracking... I don't know that he's gay. He might be married. That doesn't mean he's not gay, though, also. You never know with the praying the Jesus away. But Michael Jones, one of the top apologists on Twitter, he'd probably be happy if he heard him say that.
Look, if you want to hold to the whack job theory that Jesus never existed.
Whack job. You're a whack. No, you're a whack job if you think that somebody could be born a virgin and rise from the dead and that his sacrifice helps you from your sins because of Adam and Eve. No, you're the whack job. Let's get real. You believe in Noah's Ark and talking donkeys and talking snakes. You're the whack job. Calling an obvious fairy tale a fairy tale makes us normal people. You're the whack job.
You're going to have to deal with the wide array of Christian and non-Christian sources. But that doesn't mean Jesus never existed.
They're all late
Look,
sources.
if you want to hold to the whack job theory that Jesus never existed, you're going to have to deal with the wide array of Christian and non-Christian sources.
You showed Josephus and the Talmud again. Dude, the Talmud is compiled and written after Christianity. This is a later layer of Christianity. They knew about the Jesus story from Christianity in the Bible. And it's not even the same thing. It's not even the same story. I read a whole book called The Jesus the Jews Never Knew that proves that the Talmud is not proof of a historical Jesus.
Acknowledging he was a real person.
It does not. It doesn't say we confirmed he's a real person.
Did Jesus even exist?
Maybe the Jews wanted everybody to think he was a real person. They saw that effect it was having. Now we got some, look at this. More Christian apologetics. 22,000 likes. Should Christianity be taught in schools? What should be taught in schools? No evidence for evolution. 0 eyewitnesses and 500 eyewitnesses for Jesus and his resurrection. Case closed, atheist. 22,000 likes. This is how backwards and stunted Christianity makes people's minds. Number one, there is one document written by one man, Paul, that says there were 500 witnesses to a resurrection. Okay, one story about 500 people saying it. And that's in Paul's letters. Guess what? This doesn't even come up in the Gospels. The big proof of the eyewitnesses of Jesus, of the 500, not in the Gospels. Only in one of Paul's letters he says this. So retarded. One guy claiming 500 people saw something is not better evidence than evolution. And by the way, we are already eyewitnesses. There still are species that you can show them, like amphibians, half living in the water and going on to land. It still exists today. Look at this. Amphibians, to reptiles, to mammals, to primates, to apes, to humans. You can see the gradual, incremental, evolutionary steps. If you think the Bible in Genesis and some ancient Jews saying, well, God just said it. God was lonely, so he took some dirt and just turned it into a man and then made Eve from a rib. If you think that's a better explanation for the origins of life than a natural process that we have all the evidence in the world for, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. You don't see the resemblance here? You don't see how we could have came out of the oceans and the water? Do you not see the resemblance? Cellular branches off into plants and fungi and fish evolving just in the ocean, little fish, little bacteria forever, amphibians turn into reptiles. turn into mammals, turn into monkeys.
Pete Rules 247 sent $5 on Rumble. Adam, I think we need to have another evolution documentary stream for these low IQ Christians.
I think so too. No, that's satanic. The Bible. The Jews, they go, evolution's Jewish.
By the way, the last common answer.
No, the Jews want you to believe in Yahweh. That's what they want, not evolution.
Sister, for the theory of evolution, the ape is named Lucy, right? The last common ancestor that we...
So evolution is satanic?
In anthropology, absolutely.
Charles Darwin's a Satanist, right?
Absolutely.
I was a little bit late on that.
I studied anthropology in college, and evolution, I loved it. It was actually the hardest thing I had to let go of when I came to Christ. But then I really did my research, and it's so stupid for the intermediary species and stuff. Like, adaptation exists, animals change.
Ben, galus en $5 complaining works. Irsafi ou shekel, sorry I can't do much more.
Thank you. If everybody just chipped in a little $5, it would be more. It would be more than enough, and everybody could be happy, and Mrs. No More News could be happy. I wouldn't have to complain. Evolution is demonic, huh?
Tail to land mammal.
Okay. There's the Earth flat too.
Millions of intermediary species missing there, never been found. Just like a wolf and a dog. Like when people are like, you can breed dogs with other dogs.
A wolf is a dog.
But now look at this. Last common ancestor named Lucy.
A dog is a wolf.
Telescope that looks at the stars, the planetarium telescope that...
Lucy. They named her Lucy because they were playing Lucy in the Sky of Diamonds when it happened. When they found it.
Go in. It's called Lucy.
By the Beatles.
They're literally named it Lucifer. So last common ancestor is Lucifer.
Science is like literally Jewish and satanic. Like imagine not seeing the relation, the common ancestor. Imagine not seeing the similarities. 300 million, 200 million, 100 million, 50 million, 100,000, and modern man. No, Adam and Eve is true. The Jewish book got it right. God did it. All right. That's funny. I love the Adam fish. I forgot about that. Oh, it had a community note. We do see evolution happening right now. It has predictive power. All the different sciences all come together and converge and all support evolution. The archaeology, the genetics, all of it. All right. Where are we on time? 2 hours. Wow. Are we going to have to skip the Shroud of Turin stuff? We're going to do the Shroud of Turin stuff.
Stacia 0927 sent $5 on Rumble. Another great show. Thanks.
Confirm not Jewish, Stacia. Thank you. I guess we'll just have to keep going. If I have to pee, I'll go pee and come back. But we're just going to keep going because we need to make the goal today. Can't go tell the missus that we didn't make the goal. Under strict orders. Stream until you make the goal. All right. We're not going to listen to this whole thing, though.
Emperor Odin sent $5 on Rumble. The left will even call evolution racist when it goes beyond the limits of racial differences. These Christ cucks are silent on that despite trying on the libs they ignore many other common things.
That's right. Thank you for saying that. When I searched evolution on my timeline, this is another one I found. Owens describing this, inadvertently revealing the problem with denying Darwinian evolution. One of the...
I'm like, isn't evolution mean that, if we're all descended from monkeys, aren't some races closer to monkeys? Like maybe the ones that are living near the monkeys and looking more like the monkeys. He was like, no, we're all equally separated from the monkeys.
We're all God's children that came from Noah's Ark. God made us Adam and Eve in his image. We're all in the image of God. We're all the sons of Noah. We're all the children of Christ. This is so funny. Maybe the people, this is just like such science common sense. Biology, evolution 101, like.
And I'm like, isn't evolution mean that, if we're all descended from monkeys, aren't some races closer to monkeys? Like maybe the ones that are living near the monkeys and looking more like the monkeys. He was like, no, we're all equally separated from the monkeys. No. Okay, that's not what Darwin says. When people say Darwinian evolution, they're absolutely they believe that some groups are more monkey than others, and they're not shy about that. I'm like, isn't evolution mean that,
anybody that hates on evolution just is an advocate for Yahweh, the jealous tribal god of the Hebrews. Period. No, I shouldn't say period. I know some of the pagans are out there, don't believe in evolution, but yeah. We do. We believe in reality here.
Jocelyn 8 sent $5 on Rumble.
Hey, Jocelyn.
Please check out these images. History speaks for itself. The Abrahamic religions are a plagiarism of the ancient Assyrian, Babylonian religion.
Yep. And Canaanite. And Greek. Okay. What is the Shroud of Turin? Historical evidence of Jesus' crucifixion. Let's start there.
Goes the earth. So we know that crucifixion was an historical practice.
Absolutely. And it's the best established fact of the ancient world. Jesus died.
Such a lie. Dude, already out of the gates. Bullshitting. Oh, the best thing we know of the ancient world is Jesus
Emperor
was crucified.
Odin sent $5 on Rumble. Evolution also has origins from humans coming from fish all the way back to ancient Greece.
What? Evolution has origins from humans coming from fish. Oh, the ancient Greece thought that we came from fish also?
Death by Roman crucifixion.
What does that mean?
Meaning that if we can't know that Jesus died by Roman crucifixion based on the historical record, we shouldn't believe anything from history at all.
Such bullshit, guys. Such a charlatan con artist saying this shit. Imagine thinking that Mark, which is the first document that says that it was a Roman crucifixion in the Bible, it's written at least 40 years after it supposedly happened by somebody that's writing a completely symbolic fiction made from prophecy in a retelling of the story of Moses. Now, everything that's in Josephus' writings, that's in Philo's writings about the world, we have lots of historians from that time that are telling real histories, not magical fairy tales about Jesus. To say that Mark is the best historical thing we know is just so insane.
Have as much evidence for the crucifixion of Jesus that we have from Roman empires of the Roman emperors of the same period, which is remarkable.
Where does that
just because there's multiple copies of this gospel? When the Christians were in charge of preserving all of destroying Library of Alexandria was destroyed, and all of these histories are not preserved and lost, like 90% of the documents from the ancient world, because the Christians only save the Jewish stuff and the Christian stuff. This is such an absurd apologist claim. Tucker is such a Jesus shilling propagandist.
It is remarkable. Mm-hmm. Where does that evidence come from?
It comes out of all of the sources: Tacitus, Suetonius, Lucian. We have 11 different sources within, and I always use what the most critical scholars use, within 100 years of the time of Jesus, which his ministry begins in 26 to 27.
None of those are evidence of a historical figure. They're all dependent on the Gospels. Were written before Josephus, Tacitus, Pliny the Younger, Suetonius, before all of those. Come on. All of them know of Jesus because of either Christians telling them about Jesus, that they followed Christianity, or from the Gospels.
AD, he's crucified, as we said, on that first Easter weekend, April 5, he's resurrected. He's crucified April 3rd, AD 30. We know the exact date, which is fascinating to know that. And then we have 11 sources. AD 30, right. And so we have 11 sources that talk about this Jesus, this Christus. He's spelled in variant ways, but they're all talking about the same person, this Jesus Christ, who's crucified under the reign of Pontius Pilate at the hands of the Jews. And that's written in Tacitus, Suetonius, Josephus. There's some.
Optics Prime sent $5 on Rumble. These Christians could at least be honest and say we don't know, but they spread mistruths as facts.
Yeah, no, if they were honest, they'd say, well, the evidence isn't very good, actually. It's a lot of late stuff. It doesn't really prove he existed, but they have faith. That would be honest. To sit up here and gaslight and say it's the most well-established fact of the ancient world is pure bullshit. The greatest bullshit I've ever fucking heard from these liars.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Remarkable work coming out with Josephus recently, that Josephus, who we've already mentioned, the first century Roman historian, he would have had a firsthand knowledge. He would have had friends who were at the trial of Jesus, and he writes about that.
No, he does not. He does not say anything about having friends at the trial of Jesus. No, he didn't actually write about any of it. It's an interpolation. He says, oh, there was a wise man who did many good things, and they follow him to this day.
True sent $10 on Rumble.
That's what he actually says.
True, this is also tiring. Thank you, Adam, for persevering. Looking forward to your IRL interviews.
I'll be working on those again tonight. I had 2 hours of raw footage, and I only made it through the first hour of chopping it up, getting it ready to go. Dude, I cannot believe I just heard that. This guy is such a liar. Does Tucker or any of these big right-wing names ever bring on anybody to give the other side of these arguments, to counter all of this Christian propaganda? Ever?
Ubx89 sent $10. I want to earn more so I can donate more.
Yeah, me too. I feel you, bro.
30, right. And so we have 11 sources that talk about.
He says Josephus could have known somebody that was at the trial, but he never says he learned about Jesus from somebody who was at the trial. He doesn't say anything like that, and he sure makes it sound like that's what it was, right? That's so duplicitous.
This Jesus, this Christus, he's spelled in variant ways, but they're all talking about the same person, this Jesus Christ who's crucified under the reign of Pontius Pilate at the hands of the Jews. And that's written in Tacitus, Suetonius, Josephus. There's some remarkable work coming out with Josephus recently, that Josephus, who we've already mentioned, the first century Roman historian, he would have had a firsthand knowledge. He would have had friends who were at the trial of Jesus, and he writes about that.
He does not write about that. He does not say, I learned this from my friends who were there. And he sure made it sound... He made it sound like that's what Josephus wrote. Very sneaky.
He was not a Christian.
No.
So of those 11, obviously you got the authors of the four Gospels who testified to this.
Saul, Paul. You have Paul.
Yep.
They were not eyewitnesses.
Sent $5. I hang out with Milo Catboy Kanye, but I'm not gay.
I don't believe you. The four Gospels are also not independent. Everybody knows this. The synoptic problem. Mark was first. Matthew copied Mark and expanded. And Luke copied both of them and changed some things. It's not four eyewitnesses giving their testimony. It's one mythical story and other people rewriting and adding to that mythical story. Again, this is all just such trash.
They're all followers of Jesus, but you have non-Christians.
Absolutely. You have hostile witnesses who give voice to the historicity of the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus.
Interesting.
No, they don't.
Interesting.
Where? What hostile witness? Source? What hostile witness says they know Jesus resurrected? Maybe way later somebody said Christians claim he resurrected.
So what does the face tell us?
The face is remarkable. When you look at this, this is truly remarkable. So let me back up for a minute. In 1898, the first photograph is taken of the shroud. Okay, remember, photography has only been invented in the 1840s. And so in 1898, when the shroud has been on display, the shroud has only been on public display a few times in its entire history. And right now, you have to see it through a private viewing. Very few people. This is the closest. This is what's so cool about our broadcast today. I mean, this is the closest the audience will ever get to the Shroud of Turin, what we're bringing today on your network.
Is it real?
What's amazing when you look at the face is we see an actual image in Seconda Pio when he takes the photograph in 1898 of the shroud. There was no electricity in the church, Tucker, so he had to bring in generators.
Zoom enhance the face of Jesus, guys. Ready? Scientists, for the first time ever, have recreated the true face of Jesus. This is really what he looked like, guys. We was kings. Blonde hair, blue eye, Aryan Jesus. The Shroud of Turin.
He had to take flash photography. The exposures took 14 minutes and 20 minutes. When I was in Turin, Italy recently, I saw the actual camera he used. It looks like a dorm refrigerator. He used glass plates to take the picture. And in the darkroom, now Seconda P is a lawyer and he's just a hobbyist photographer, because who was a professional photographer at the end of the 19th century. And he's in the darkroom. And I want to show you what he sees using my cell phone. And when I speak on our tour events, I have our entire audiences do this. If you take your phone and if you put it in classic invert and you just bring up the camera, and if you focus in, I want you to do.
New study just came out. 3D modeling of what a shroud wrapped around somebody would look like if it left an imprint on it. And it doesn't look like this. No, it actually looks like this. This is what it would look like if there was really a shroud and it really burst with a light of energy. The shroud face would look like this. On a 3D body wrapped around the face, this is what it would look. The shroud should look like.
Do something. I'm going to hand you my phone. I want you to focus in on the image, and you're going to see exactly what Seconda.
Wild.
Seconda Pia saw this image, and he's a follower of Jesus, and he believes he's looking at the face of Jesus Christ. Keep in mind, he would be the first one to see the face of Jesus since the apostles. And what does he say in the darkroom in 1898, never more appropriately?
Verkluver sent $25 when you are not doing the Jewish God's work. Keep the pressure on Goya Yak.
Thank you for the big dono. Appreciate you, bro. You guys are awesome.
That's awesome. Thanks, man.
We'll never let up the pressure.
My God. And so in 1898, he sees this.
We got Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, Joe Rogan, Donald Trump, John Hagee, Rabbi Jonathan Cahn, all shilling Jesus. All the biggest shilling Jesus. And then the leading opposition to the Jews also promotes Rabbi Jesus, and nobody bats an eye, and nobody sees what's going on here. The full spectrum Moshiach madness dominance that's happening here.
Tells of the Levant sent $5. There was a scholar on Mythvision recently that made a case for the passage in Josephus being authentic. It sounds to me like that's where this guy is getting his information.
I'll have to look at that. Thank you, Louis Theroux, for that. Louis Theroux, I should say, actually.
It's really, it's so much clearer.
Right.
This is photographic negative.
Right. The negative is actually the positive. And so if you trace and go to the back, I want you to look at the back of the image, the head, the blood, the back, all of those hash marks, the abrasions.
So they had a negative carving of a shallow relief image and placed it on there and soaked some shit on it or something. They put some liquid on this low relief carving and draped it over it, and that's how you get the negative. It's like a negative carving. There's a scholar that was just on History Valley that broke down how that you can make something like this.
I estimate there are 700 wounds on the crucified man of the shroud. No one was crucified the way Jesus was crucified in antiquity, the crown of thorns. You ask about the face. Seconda Pia believes that he's looking at the face of God. In that image, of course, he was immediately...
Who said that? Because the first guy that talked about the shroud said it was a forgery. The first Catholic bishop said it was a forgery.
Accused of being a fraudster, a hoaxer, because photography is so new, the darkroom, this can't be an image, right? He had to have faked this.
I don't understand.
So you're telling me everybody was accusing the guy that first had it as being a fraud? Oh, of course, they're just satanic. Of course they would lie about our Lord and Savior. It's like, oh yeah, just like the radiocarbon dating, that was a lie. No, their cope for that is they took a sample that was a patchwork from when it was burnt. Okay, we'll have the Vatican take another sample from the original fabric. Let's date that. No, they only give their samples apparently to this kook that's obsessed with proving it's real, and he has his bullshit unproven method of using an X-ray to see X-ray image to see how much the thread unravels. That's not how you date things. The Shroud of Turin.
Just as a kind of physics question, like how would a photographic negative be clearer?
Right. Isn't that fascinating? I mean, that's the thing about the shroud. The physics contradict the chemistry contradict the physics. Welcome to Shroud of Turin. You're being red-pilled on the shroud right now.
I'm being baffled right now.
I will.
So the image, what's remarkable about this image is that you have to stand at least 8 feet away to see it with the naked eye, as we are right now. The image vanishes if you get closer. It's hard to trace because the image is superficial, Tucker. I mentioned the blood earlier, and there are pints of type AB blood, pre-mortem, post-mortem. Pints of blood all over it. I mean, this was a very, very badly wounded man.
Sean Dorito said $10 quite easy for an intelligent person to see. There is no way a face would project into a wrap cloth like that. Pure gaslighting.
Right.
So again, indicative of what we know of crucifixion. Pints of blood, type AB blood. And then in addition to that, when you look at the shroud and you see this and you see all of the image itself that's left, the blood absorbs all the way through the linen, but the image is superficial. Now this is where you have to stay with me. The image is only 2 microns thick. It does not absorb all the way through. So if
the land of the Bible.
Remember, Islam killed the bishops, the Bibles, and the buildings.
Yeah.
And so it's escaping that. So it's amazing the embarrassment of riches we have from an artifactual standpoint. And then when you actually look too, there's something else we haven't touched on. The iconography, the early Christian art, Tucker, I mean, is remarkable. On my social media, we created a AI image. My friend Doug Powell and me. Doug gets all the credit. He's an amazing artist. He imported the information of the face of the crucified man and compares it with the icon Pantocrator, Lord over all, which is currently at St. Catherine's Monastery, where it's been since the 6th century. This is an icon of Jesus. It's famous. When he put those two images, the face of Jesus in the shroud and the icon Pantocrator in Sinai.
They made the Jesus forgery shroud look like the icon images? Oh my God, it's such proof. I'm so convinced.
He put that into Mid-Journey and created an AI rendering of what Jesus would have looked like. It is so moving. It's powerful.
It's interesting. The face of Jesus on the shroud before us, even at this distance, it's recognizable.
Dude, the Christians were going crazy posting that. They love it.
As the Jesus from antiquity, from the artistic representations of Jesus all the way up until...
Look at this. I found Smithsonian Channel 11 years ago. How to fake the Shroud of Turin. Let's watch that. They'll be like, oh, the Jews run the Smithsonian. They're hiding the Nephilim bodies, and they're covering up Noah's Ark, and they're satanic scientists that promote evolution. Watch, you know that's the cope already. Oh, the Smithsonian? You know that's the biggest proponent of the shroud is an Orthodox Jew. I forgot to mention that also. Barry Schwartz, TED Talk Barry Schwartz. The Jew and the Shroud is the title of that. He's like the biggest promoter. Debunked. Sorry.
George Floyd became Jesus in 2020.
Yeah, not the gay-looking Jesus of the medieval era.
Yeah, no.
And I really mean that. If you look at...
Did he just say the gay-looking Jesus?
Jesus depictions in the medieval era, it's a very effeminate Jesus, no facial hair, weak, small, a white Jesus. That's not what we have reflected. So again, if we were a hoaxer in the medieval era, we would have created the Jesus of our time, which is this effeminate Jesus. No, what do we have?
Oh my God. It looks, they based their little low relief sculpture face on the icons of Jesus. Give me a break. I don't trust this guy's hair. Yeah, me neither.
Here we have
funny how this guy gets paraded around on all the big kosher platforms, all the big Zionist gatekeeping platforms, and I get on no big platforms. I wonder which narrative is kosher Jewish approved, guys. I wonder. Femboy Yeshua. Ladyboy Jesus.
A man's man, a long-haired man. A man, we know Jesus walked 20,000 miles in his ministry.
Jesus was a man's man. He had long hair like a man. Doesn't Paul say in the Bible that long hair is an abomination or something?
add up his trips to Jerusalem and his public ministry, Jesus being about 30, according to Luke's gospel, when he begins his ministry, Jesus was walking all the time. There was no Ubers or rideshare apps. He was pound for pound a strong man, a physically fit man.
Jesus was shredded, guys, okay? They got the abs right in all the paintings. He had monster calves. He walked around the desert for 40 days. You think you could do that with some weak little Jewish chicken legs? He was a man's man. Everybody knows this.
And that's why he could probably take the brutality that he endured as well.
Jewish Chad Jesus.
That's just so interesting, though. But the face is distinctive, and the face is reflected through Christian art going back a long way. Like, if you just showed me that face, I'd say, oh, that's Jesus' face. Exactly. So the question was like, well, how do we know what Jesus looks like? And this is the
shroud.
answer.
Yeah, and so all the icons, what we call them...
Dude, talk about circular. This is made 600 years ago. Right? The 1200s is when it was dated to. 800 years ago. Sorry. Made 800 years ago. They already had icons of what Jesus looked like, and they made it to look like that. And they're like, look, this is proof. It's all the paintings prove this, and this proves the paintings, and it's all Jesus. I can't believe he called Jesus gay. Yeah, effeminate Jesus.
All the iconography, all the icons of Jesus, there's over 200 of them. They seem to have the same source material. And when you compare it to the shroud, it's like they all trace the face of Jesus off the man of the shroud.
Wild.
And not only that, you have the numismatics.
That's like saying, hey, Superman always looks like Superman.
Glubwob sent $10. Check out Silas Godier's book, Blood on the Sand. Delves into Judaism's ancient roots of conquest through parasitism and subversion to conquer their host nations. Same tactics used today as they were over 5,000 years ago.
I will check that out. Sounds interesting. Thank you.
This is the study of coinage from the ancient times. And you have all these Byzantine coins that look just like the image of the face of the man of the shroud.
Yes.
So, like, what are all these people looking at if the shroud was invented, like the liberal scientists want us to believe and the liberal Bible scholars?
Liberal scientists. We can only believe Christians and Jews tell us that it's real. If anybody says it's not real, that liberal radiocarbon dating from 3 different universities. Hey, Goy, we can't trust those liberal scientists to help us date this thing.
Sure, apostate, in the 14th century.
So that's the claim.
The claim is based on one fact, the carbon dating of 1988 that you brought up. 1260 to 1390 is what they wrote on the chalkboard in October of 1988, that the carbon dating said.
So let's get into that in some detail,
Absolutely.
If you don't mind.
I would love to.
So everybody remember, I guess I misremembered. I was told it was probably fake in 1980, but you're saying was not till 1988.
October 88.
October 88, there was a radiocarbon dating.
Jesus wasn't a liberal. Can't trust the liberal scientists, but I guess you can't trust Jesus because he was so liberal, right?
Shroud itself.
Right.
Before you debunk it, if you wouldn't mind just explaining who did that.
Right. So the agreement was, again, the Catholic Church did not take control of the shroud until the mid-80s. First, if you don't mind, could I just back up to...
And they never have officially said that it's real either. They don't even claim it's real.
1978, Tucker, to the original scientific research. So, this is amazing, which I'm glad we have this time. In 1976, and I'll get to it, I want to set the context. 2 Air Force Academy professors, Eric Jumper and John Jackson, use a machine.
What's this guy's name?
That was developed to study the effects of the nuclear bomb, called a VP8 image analyzer. It's a brightness map. And they would use that to scan the impact of the nuclear bomb. So that's what the machine is. These are not pastors. These are not theologians. These are professors at the Air Force Academy. They get an image of the Shroud of Turin, likely the Henri 1930s image that C.S. Lewis had in his bedroom, and they put it through the VP8 image analyzer. And they realize there are 3D information encoded in the Shroud of Turin. No other picture does that. I want to make sure this sets in. There's 3D information. There's like a holographic topography brightness map of the man of the shroud. That looks like you're looking at the surface, geography, topography of of land.
There's like depth.
There is depth. There's 3D. The way they said it, analytically, there's 3D information encoded in the image of the crucified man. And when they put pictures of their grandchildren through it, it was just smeared 2D images. So no other image does this. So that VP8 image analyzer, you can go on YouTube and watch it done.
Optics Prime sent $5 on Rumble. Why do Christians want to die on this hill?
Because there's no evidence. A lot of Christians I'll argue with online, I'll say Jesus is a myth, he didn't exist. They go, yeah, he did. The Shroud of Turin proves it. This is what convinces these people. They've got a lot riding on this thing being real, let me tell you. It's all they've got is this obvious forgery. Look, this is what Jesus actually looked like. If he was real, this is what he looked like right here. Oops. Right here. That's the actual, that's what they base the shroud on right there, that depiction of Jesus.
What gave rise to what's called the Shroud of Turin Research Project, the scientific STERP team, which consists of 33 scientists.
How many? Come again? How many scientists? Come again? That's funny, right?
26 who went to Turin, Italy. They had 5 days. They had 120 hours to study the shroud. Keep in mind, the Savoy family allowed this.
I wouldn't buy a used car from this guy. He looks like the bad guy in Billy Madison. I would not trust this guy for car insurance, let alone to tell me the truth about Jesus. Yeah, Illuminati confirmed, right?
The Catholic Church. This is controversial, but I don't believe the Catholic Church would have ever allowed the Shroud of Turin to be researched. And that's not my saying. That's Barry Schwartz, who was the documenting photographer who photographed the shroud in 1978.
The Jew. Barry Schwartz, the Jew, by the way. And I say that not because I'm saying he's a Jew, so he's wrong, but because the Christians, when the study, they posted the study the other day of the Brazilian that did the 3D mapping imaging of what it would a shroud around an actual 3D body would be. They said, "Oh, it's Jewish. Oh, the guy that wrote the article is Jewish." Dismiss. Oh, check the early life. He's lying about our Lord and Savior. Yeah, but Barry Schwartz, they're like, "I trust you. I believe you."
It was the private family, the Savoys, the House of Savoy, who allowed this research team, 33 scientists, to study the shroud for 5 days. Okay, so they took 4 years. They didn't go on Twitter.
If it was 33 scientists that proved that it was wrong, they would be like, Illuminati, this is the Freemasons are covering up our Lord and Savior, right? But if it's 33 saying it's true.
Didn't exist. They didn't go on social media. Didn't exist. They took 4 years to publish all of their findings. And I haven't used this word yet until this point in our interview. The STERP team, these 33 scientists, by the way, Roy Rogers says, give me 15 minutes in the scientific method and I'll prove it's a hoax. He wasn't saying that.
See, 30 scientists, 10 scientists, no, not enough. 15, no. 20, 30, no. 30, they needed 33 to determine it was true.
After 15 minutes of studying the shroud, they all thought they had a free trip to Italy. They were in the lobby, Barry Schwartz, one of the original STERP teams, and I met many of them. Sadly, many of them are now dead, but they're meeting over drinks in the lobby of the Italy Hotel in Turin, which is a beautiful city to visit, and they're all joking that they have a free trip to Italy to debunk this hoax. No one was saying that a few days later. So these 33 scientists publish, and they prove, this is the word I'm going to use, it's proven. The shroud is not a work of art. It is not a man-made image. They can't tell you how it's made, but they prove there's no pigment, there's no dye, there's no...
Where's the scientist we just saw from the Smithsonian? The 33 thing is so hilarious to me. So, Christians, are you going to trust Barry Schwartz and the 33 and the sacred 33 scientists?
No paint, They cannot explain how the image is there, but it is not man-made. So for the Christians out there or religiously minded people who think that like we're violating the second commandment right now, looking at this, we're not violating the second commandment, Tucker, so we can be at ease.
What's the second commandment?
Is you shall not worship a graven image. A graven image is by definition a man-made object, a handmade object. The shroud is not man-made. It's otherworldly. So we're not violating the second commandment. So that allows.
And what's otherworldly about it? The 3D.
Hold on. 106.
We're violating the second commandment right now. Looking at this, we're not violating the second commandment, Tucker. So we can be at ease.
That sounds like a guy that's that he's conning you. Laugh.
Second commandment
Is you shall not worship a graven image. A graven image is by definition a man-made object, a handmade object. The shroud is not man-made. It's otherworldly. So we're not violating the second commandment.
Tucker's like, oh, it must be God.
So that allows people
and what's
to breathe
otherworldly
easier.
about it? The 3D.
That the image, here's the cool part about the shroud. I believe we're looking at the moment of Jesus's resurrection, ultimately. All of this conversation leads that something powerful happens on that first Easter morning. It's electromagnetic radiation that's so powerful. We don't have this amount of watt power on Earth. 40 billion watts of energy, but it happens. It's peak power. It's not like the power when you
He's like, it's 33 billion watts of energy. They proved it.
Flip on. It took me a while to learn this. It's almost like a cold energy because it happens so quickly in a twinkling of an eye.
It doesn't evaporate.
It doesn't.
The linen.
That's what the labs could heat up and essentially tattoo the shroud, but it would burn up instantly. It would scorch.
Scientists have proven that it's actually 6 billion gigawatts made this image. It's otherworldly.
This didn't scorch. It was the pulse rate, which was so, and I know we're getting deep, but it's important to be nuanced in this conversation and precise. Pulse rate power, 40,000 billion watts traveling at 1/40th of a billionth of a second.
Dude,
we believe is that moment that.
Dude, low IQ guys are just like, whoa, man, they got all that's so scientific. 33 scientists proves that it's 44 billion trillion gigalights. Dude, this is so funny. 107. Let's hear that
tattoo
again.
The shroud, but it would burn up instantly. It would scorch. This didn't scorch. It was the pulse rate, which was so, and I know we're getting deep, but it's important to be nuanced.
I know we're getting a little scientific, but let me just break it down for all these Christian boomers out there.
In this conversation and precise. The pulse rate power, 40,000 billion watts traveling at 140.
40,000 billion watts traveling at 8 million miles per minute. Made this image
of a billionth of a second, we believe is that moment that Jesus' body is resurrected. And that's what leaves this image.
But whatever it was a process that
chemically changed the fibrils at a 0.2 depth, which is surface level, to leave this image.
Wow.
And
that's a face of a...
Cannot, just for the fifth time, that cannot be applied with a brush.
Yeah, can we see Jesus's dick on the shroud? Have you measured the size of Jesus's dick on the shroud? Did the dick leave an imprint?
No, it can't be duplicated.
Oh, man, so blasphemous.
And it hasn't been. One man in Britain offered £1 million to anyone who could replicate the shroud. And
they're like, we saw the imprint. The light explosion from Jesus's penis, and let me tell you, he was a manly man, all right? We know. The shroud told us. Yet he was circumcised, confirmed it must have been Jewish. It was circumcised. We saw the pulse rate of his foreskin on the shroud, confirmed circumcised.
Picking him up on the offer.
So if we have a written record of the shroud going back to the 4th century, how were scientists allowed to say that it, I mean, if we
Odyssey says the cruciflux capacitor made the image.
know it existed because contemporaneous sources described it, then how are they allowed to say it was a Renaissance creation?
Well, how are they allowed to say anything that's unfactual? They're liars.
Good question. Yeah, no self-awareness at all. You peddle Jewish magical bullshit for a living. How are they able to do that? They're just liars.
And they hate hate truth and they hate God.
And they hate God. You don't believe in Jewish magic. You're just a liar that hates God. Good argument, dude.
Well, yeah, I'm aware of that. But like just on
well, obviously everybody knows that anybody who doesn't believe in the Shroud just hates God and the Jews and the Jewish Messiah. So.
Oh, it existed because contemporaneous sources described it. Then how are they allowed to say it was a Renaissance?
Right.
That's a lie too. Let me see. They're saying there's a 4th century mention of the Shroud. I'll have to look that up. If anything, there was probably just some other forged shroud. Around that time, that is when they started having all of these holy relics. It was a big business. Christian tourism.
Well, how are they allowed to say anything that's unfactual? They're liars.
Good
and
question.
They hate truth and they hate God.
Well, yeah, I'm aware of that. But like just on logic grounds, how could, I don't know, did anybody say, well, wait a second, we've been, someone in the 320s wrote about
that. The greatest grift of all time. Somebody in the 320s wrote about, Let's hear more about that. Guarantee we're going to look into that and it's going to be bullshit.
Right. Well, they don't know that, honestly. The scientists, they don't read these truths. They don't read Christian history.
These scientists just rely on science and radiocarbon dating. They don't read the Bible, so they can't know the truth. They hate God and they don't believe the Bible, so they can't tell us the truth about the Shroud, that the Shroud's real. Only the 33 scientists all agreed it was proven, though. See how he has it both ways? They were selling wood and nails to tourists saying they were from the cross. Yeah, if anything, that's what it is. Scientists don't even trust the scriptures, man. The scientists are just demonic.
Most media people have never read the Bible. They don't even know
but
what
if
you're
they're
talking
studying
about.
the Shroud of Turin, you'd think they would have some grounding in the Shroud of Turin.
Right,
But
exactly.
So they do radiocarbon dating. This was the headline from 88, I guess.
Right, that it's so thank you. So that was the scientific launch to
Dude, Tucker
so then in the mid and the late 80s.
So subversive.
Thank you for bringing me back. It's agreed upon
Jeremiah
that 7
Johnson?
laboratories would do blind research, carbon dating of the Shroud. And the scientists who studied it said, whatever you do, don't take the sample from the fringes because the Shroud has been repaired. There's 2 things we're looking at, Tucker, that it took me again.
Here's the cope. Oh, it was repaired. They dated the repaired part of the Shroud. All right, give us a non-repaired part, Vatican. Let's do another test. Send it around again with the new equipment for the radiocarbon dating. Send it to some Christian radiocarbon daters too. Whatever you want to do. No, they don't do that.
$5. Speaking as an engineer, this is some serious hokum.
I know.
It took me a minute.
UBX 89 sent $5. There are experts that argue that the Shroud was made by Da Vinci with a primitive photographic technique. It is very convincing.
I'll have to look for that.
To learn all this, there's these those lines, those are burn marks, those are scorch marks. These 16 triangular shapes, those are patches. The Shroud survives a fire in 1532. The nuns stitched it up with a backing cloth, and
dude,
they
you
also
noticed? Look at this. Look at the naked Jesus covering his ball sack on the ground, just like a dead zombie Jesus corpse.
Pete Rules 247 sent $5 on Rumble. Hey, Adam. I once heard from a Catholic priest that they had found the cross, cut it up into little pieces and put them in churches. I felt that this was too good to be true. Have you heard of this?
Yeah. They've got so many nails, so many splinters from the cross. I just saw the other day, there's TikTok videos they have the tunic that Peter wore, and they have this thing, they have the crown of thorns, and they have the holy foreskin of Jesus. Yeah, they're all way later, just people trying to grift with fake relics. Big business fake relics. Big business forgeries and lies in Christianity and fraud.
Fire.
This was in Chambéry, France, 1532, before it moves to Turin in 1578. So it survives this fire. It's doused. The Shroud has survived at least 3 fires, and so there are also water stains. You can see.
Dude, check out his Twitter. He's on Twitter. Only 13,000 followers. Look at this guy. Oh, my gosh. The beard with the no mustache, weird looking. Christian thinkers. Why does this guy's got? Okay, hold on. Oh yeah, we're gonna look up what he says about Israel. Who wants to bet he's a Zionist?
See those watermarks as well on the shroud. This is what's amazing. Like if this was a work of art, it would have diluted it. The image would have smeared or vanished.
Dude, no, you could use whatever they use to imprint the thing. Water. Some things are not water soluble. You can stain things, and getting them wet doesn't get rid of the stain. Isn't it a miracle? Oh my God, it got wet and it still stayed the same. You never had a stain that wouldn't come out on a shirt? Come on.
None of that happens. The image is still, as you just saw with the classic invert on my phone, very apparent. And so it survives all of that, but it did come in contact. I mean, millions of people have likely touched this shroud. I mean, it would be brought out for baby baptisms. That upper right corner would be cut off. Like if I really loved you, Tucker, I would give you a piece of the shroud to take home with you after having dinner with me if you visited me in one of my castles. I mean, so it's known that aspects of the shroud were given out even for indulgences. So in the top left, you can see with the naked eye, anyone who pulls it.
Told you it's a big grift. Told you it was a big grift. Even for indulgences. They scam people out of their money, telling them that they're giving them some of the burial cloth. Okay. Grift confirmed.
The shroud can see it is a contaminated area of the shroud. It's dark. It's been touched a lot. It's the fringes of the shroud. And so there's an invisible weave there that many great scholars believe that was patched. And so the scholars said, whatever you do, don't...
Guys, guess what I searched Israel on his timeline. He has a Bible verse. Can anybody in the chat guess what the first Bible verse I found when I searched Israel on his timeline? Who wants to guess what verse it's going to be? What verse is this guy going to have? It's Genesis 12:3. Bless them and you'll be blessed, and curse them and you'll be cursed. Who could have imagined? Who could have imagined? Wow.
Carbon date the corners of the shroud because it's been so contaminated. It's a contaminated sample. Get in the middle of the shroud and carbon date those samples.
Look, speaking of fake nails of the crucifixion.
This is so cool. We've seen a replica. This is the first time in my life I've ever held an execution nail from the Roman period in my hand. This is an iron execution spike from the land of Israel, from the Roman
sent
Empire,
$5. Bronze Age Jews were nomadic shepherds called the collapsed the Akkadian Empire, usurped Egyptian pharaohs, and reigned as the Hyksos dynasty until Akhenaten and his monotheistic cult of Atanism was banished, mythologized into the Exodus story.
I've heard of that, but I'm not convinced that the Hyksos is a real Exodus, is related to the Exodus story, or if they are Jews. But I haven't looked into it incredibly deep, but from what I saw, I wasn't convinced.
It's 6 inches long.
Guess what? Guess what? Oh, nothing they hate more, Jeremiah Johnson. I won't stop speaking up for Israel. Why don't we hear more about the Jewish hostages in the media? Dallas area megachurches host family members of Israeli hostages. There's our guy. There's our Shroud of Turin guy. Come on.
Look at that. There's some weight to it. It always had a circular end and this square shaft. And we have 21 records of crucifixion victims in the Syrian province, which has Jerusalem within it, being nailed to the cross. Wow. By the way, you asked Jeremiah, why is it curved and all jaggedy? You know what I learned recently? Crucifixion nails were used again and again on different victims. They were often rusted. In fact, the nails that penetrated Jesus' hands and feet likely had been used on other execution victims as well.
Wow, there's your passion porn.
Communities in examples. So what did this community do? These 7 labs that were supposed to carbon date it, actually only 3 labs did. No one ever answered why 7 labs didn't do it. It wasn't done blindly. 3 labs, Tucson, Arizona, Zurich, Switzerland, and Oxford, England, carbon date the shroud. What part did they take? The upper left-hand corner.
Dude, this cope does not work. This cope does not work. Give us another sample then. Do another sample. Do another study. That happened in 1988. So what, 12 plus 25? 37 years ago? 37 years ago they did this. And they've been coping saying, oh, well, you took a repaired part. Where's the new study? Yeah, the rust on the nail. The chat says, hopefully Jesus had his tetanus shot. Seriously.
One scientist can see as a contaminated sample, and they carbon dated that.
Well, it's
sample.
a patch.
Exactly. Thank you for noticing that. Exactly.
You're talking about the
very top left.
That's a different color.
Right. It's dark. That is what they carbon dated. And then, ironically, the British Museum suppresses the data, the raw data of the carbon dating for 29 years.
Oh, sure.
Only in 2017 through a French attorney.
What about the other 2 places? He said only one of the universities did that. So you had the data of the other universities, and they just didn't get around to posting it or something, and you're just like making up some big conspiracy? That's what this sounds like.
Very soon at the International Shroud Conference in St. Louis. I encourage people to check it out. The French attorney, through the equivalent of a Freedom of Information Act, finally got the raw data released for the carbon dating. And what did they find? The sample that was used to carbon date it has cotton within the sample, not fine linen. The rest of the shroud is fine linen. That's indicative it was patched. So this whole bias towards the shroud is based on bad science and suppressed.
Okay. The church had the shroud. They took the sample. Where were they to go? Oh, no, that's a patch. That's patched up right there. Don't use that piece. Use this piece over here. This is the original. Why didn't they do that? And they're still coping? They're still leaning on this cope? Come on.
Science, by the way, 29 years suppressed.
I don't know if was there cotton in Europe or the Middle East.
Yeah, there was in Europe, because they would use it for patchwork, these invisible weaves, these seamstresses.
No, right. But 2,000 years ago.
Yeah. This was fine linen. We don't have any other shrouds with cotton. This is the patchwork that was done in medieval Europe to protect the shroud, to preserve it. And so that is what the carbon. So if we're stacking up all of the evidence for and against the shroud, we're in the middle of presenting a.
The other thing that's silly is that I think in the Bible it says, I've heard this argument, that it describes like two fabrics that were on Jesus, right? I think that's what it was. But also, are you telling me they wrapped the body the long ways and not around in a circle like a mummy? The shroud is like, it's like a whole wrap on top. They're not wrapping dead bodies like that. They're wrapping it around the body, not from top to head to toe wrapping.
Luminous amount of evidence for the authenticity of the shroud, and that it is indeed Jesus's burial cloth. And we have one bit of evidence to deny the shroud, this erroneous carbon-14 dating.
Has anyone ever
erroneous? It's erroneous. Okay, give us another sample then, dude. Come on. You can't do this.
Dated the linen?
No, it's not been allowed to be dated since.
Well, why not, buddy? Why would the church not try to prove this best proof of Jesus? He's going to say, oh, if the Catholics are satanic and they don't want the truth out there. Is that going to be his cope? He kind of alluded to that earlier. That's a face you can trust. That's a face that's telling you the truth. You know that.
Well, I don't understand how you could carbon date what's obviously a patch.
Right.
That I can see from here.
We weren't even made aware of what was dated until the data came out.
So they knew that there was cotton in the sample, which just immediately disqualifies it.
Exactly. It's a contaminated sample.
And they knew that, and they hid it for almost 30 years.
Right.
We're sure.
Welcome to Shroud of Turin research. Yeah, and Ray Rogers, the chemist who said, give me 15 minutes in the scientific method, debunked it in a scientific journal and then sadly died a month later of cancer. And his debunk of the carbon dating got no traction. So I'm happy to bring it up on your program and give him all the credit.
So why not just take, I mean, it's kind of a significant question, right?
Right.
If it's 2,000 years old,
because the Catholic Church is afraid of it. And the Catholic Church is still...
The Catholic Church is afraid of proving that Jesus was real and really resurrected. Okay, dude, sure. Good one.
Never come out in support of the Shroud. Are you aware of that? Like
the Catholic Church has never come out in support of the Shroud. Maybe they don't want it tested because they know it's bullshit.
No. They're ambivalent about it. They're indifferent about it. They're all, and I was just in Turin, so I'm thankful for everyone there who welcomed me. I met all of the scientists. My friend Enrico, the chemist, who the Shroud is now currently kept in what's called a reliquary. It's the exact size of the Shroud. The company, this is fascinating information. The company that creates all of the materials for the International Space Station is based in Turin. That same company created the box that preserves the Shroud.
So where is it? In a church?
It's in the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist, in this reliquary, this box. You can walk in and see it today, but it's a covered box.
Look he's hanging out in Turin, Italy, with none other than Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck, the groveling Zionist defender of Israel. Jeez. I love how all these Christians will call me a Jew and claim I'm working for Mossad for saying the Shroud and Jesus is fake. But you got these guys saying it's real. These hardcore Zionist propagandists saying it's real, I'm saying it's fake, and all these idiot Christians trust them. All right. Be duped. Be useful idiot dupes. Okay. It's on you.
And it's 99% argon gas because the two enemies of the Shroud right now are light and oxygen. And so they're preserving it. So the Catholic Church has no interest in educating people about the Shroud. Again, I'm thankful that you're having me on.
We're 3 hours in. Big show. Almost to the goal. 29 shekels away from the goal. Can we make it?
I don't understand why.
Their only interest is in conservation. So they're conserving the Shroud right now. The Shroud hasn't been on display since 2015 publicly. We don't know when it will be on display again. And yet it's this key to the whole message of Christianity. I mean, it is the death, burial, and resurrection in an artifact. Nothing else does that outside of the Bible except the Shroud.
I'm confused. Why would a Christian church want to hide what appears to be physical proof
of the resurrection
of the core story of its religion?
Right.
What's the answer?
I wish I knew.
They don't. They know it's fake. How about that? You don't think the Vatican has taken another sample and got it tested on their own and found out, shit, this one says it's 800 years ago too. Damn it. Hey, we got this old record from the first bishop saying it's fake. Shoot.
Who makes that decision?
The Pope. So technically the Pope is the custodian of the Shroud.
And that's because
it was left to the Pope, not the Catholic Church. And I was there during conclave, which was an interesting experience.
But it doesn't seem to make any sense. Do you think they're worried that...
Think for yourself. Official sent $5 on Rumble. Evidence doesn't convince the common man. They aren't looking for the truth. They are given hope, promise of heaven, identity, community. The crowd is on truth.
That's a good point. These guys don't care about any of these details. They just believe in Jesus. They like the way they think they want to go to heaven. They like getting over their guilt and being forgiven for their sins. So they say, if these guys say it's real, they go, well, I want them to be real, so I think they're right. That really is what it all comes down to.
It would turn out to be fake.
Right. I think so. I can't speak. I don't know what's in their mind.
But just to be clear, so far as you know, the Shroud itself, the actual linen cloth, has never been radiocarbon dated, just the patch.
Just the upper left corner, which is a contaminated sample. So it was the patched sample, not a fine linen sample.
Yeah, so not the real thing.
Correct. And that's not just me. That's Paulo de Lazzaro. That's Bruno Barberis. I mean, there's Ray Rogers. I would encourage people to study these scientists.
Is there any way, doesn't radiocarbon dating destroy the sample?
Absolutely.
Right. So, I mean,
25% of CR14 dating is thrown out anyways. So my area of specialty is paleography and codicology, how we date Bible manuscripts. And we date Bible manuscripts through paleography, not through carbon dating. We date it through handwriting styles to get a date range for roughly 100 years to date Bible manuscripts. So we don't do that because, to your point excellently, it destroys the actual artifact.
Is there any other way to date it?
Yes. In fact, it's been dated. That's the thing. Again,
here it is. Here's the lie. Here's the new, untested, non-orthodox way of the X-ray measuring the fibers. That he's going to go into that now too. And this guy, the guy that did the study that has not been reproduced, has not been confirmed by other scholars. He's obsessed with proving that the shroud is real for over 20 years.
Zoomé au faux d'un centaine $, greeting from the old continent. Keep fighting the good fight, Adam. Hail the old gods.
Thank you, my Frenchman. So you can't trust the atheist, liberal, God-hating scientist and their radiocarbon dating, but you can trust the guy that's obsessed with proving the shroud is real. He doesn't have bias. They do.
In these questions, Tucker, it has been dated in 4 other scientific ways that conclusively all show that it's a 1st century artifact. We have breaking news on your show. Wide-angle X-ray scattering out of the Institute of Crystallography in Rome has...
Glubwob sent $5. I can see how putting any historical legitimately behind any biblical story is counterproductive to exposing the Abrahamic deception. The Hyksos thing is irrelevant in this regard. Let's hit that goal. Keep up the good work, Adam.
Look at this. So I asked, did a bishop say the shroud was fake originally? Yes. Yes, the earliest historical record we have about the Shroud of Turin is actually from a bishop claiming it was fake. The first documented reference comes from Bishop of Troyes in a memorandum to Pope Clement, 1389. Oh, the same place that it was dated to. Imagine that. In this letter, he complained about the cloth bearing the image of Jesus being displayed in the small French church. He said the shroud was a clever painting. He said his predecessor as bishop had conducted an investigation and discovered the artist who had made it. The artist had confessed that it was his work. The shroud was being used as a money-making scheme to attract pilgrims and donations. Oh, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Same story. He wrote, quote, "The cloth was cunningly painted, the truth being attested by the artist who had painted it, to wit that it was a work of a human skill and not miraculously wrought or bestowed." The Pope did not condemn the display outright, but said it should be shown only as a representation or image of the burial cloth, not as authentic. Boom. Not looking good. Wah, 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 wah. Totally shocked. Let me guess, that was a fake Christian. He worked for Satan. He was a demon. He was a... What's the cope for that one? Funny how he didn't mention that either, by the way.
Shown that the shroud has been getting old. It's been decomposing. It's been degenerating for 2,000 years. They took a sample of a shroud from Masada that's conclusively dated to AD 70, and they compared the Shroud of Turin using wide-angle X-ray scattering. This is the Institute of Crystallography. And what they found is that the samples have both been getting old at the same time for 2,000 years. So it's not been getting old for 700 years. It's been getting
old at the same time by measuring how much the fibers fray. Guess what? Fibers fray at different rates depending on how they were stored and what was the climate and the humidity and the environment and the handling and the storage. All of that is completely dependent. And what do you know? This guy obsessed with proving it got the variables
gifted one
worked out
subscription
right where
on Rumble.
it matches. Sorry, I missed that. What did that say? Gifted
Pila
subscription.
Morales gifted one subscription on Rumble.
old for 2,000 years. There was another study done. Linen is made from flax, and it has a substance called vanillin in it, vanillin. And it takes hundreds, if not thousands of years for there to be no trace elements of vanillin in the fine linen. Guess how much vanillin there is in the Shroud of Turin? 0. So if it was 700 years old, there would still be traces of vanillin chemically. There's no vanillin in the shroud. So I don't want to bore you with these details, but they're very important.
They're not boring at all.
There have been other scientific studies.
This sounds like flat Earth science to me. There would be vanillin still in there. Yeah.
That have been suppressed, all of the other studies, to answer your question, have proven that the shroud is 2,000 years old.
That one guy sent $10. What a sham. Unfortunately, Christians hear this bias did to reaffirm that a magic Jew died for them.
Right. He just said this is being suppressed. No, they didn't. A bunch of mainstream media did articles saying the shroud dated, new study, shroud dated to 2,000 years ago. The Christians shared it like crazy. They all said, oh, look, it's proof now. Oh, atheist losing, atheist L, it's proven real now. And he goes, oh, it's actually ignored. You mean like ignored by all the rest of the scientists that said that was a bunk study and that guy's not reliable?
Scientific stamp.
He has an agenda?
Point.
I think it's pretty wild that the authorities, the British Museum, is that what you said?
Right.
Would hide relevant data,
suppress it for 29 years. I mean, the professor...
How can you do... How is that science? I don't understand.
One of the lab officials, Tucker, I mean, this is all... I mean, if people just read for themselves and think for themselves, I mean, one of the professors who wrote on the chalkboard 1260 to 1390 was given a $5 million endowed chair right after this announcement in 1988.
By whom?
By his cabal that was backing him.
Excuse me.
Huh.
So again, people need to follow where the evidence leads. And again, I'm following forensic science. I'm following the iconography. I mean, the blood samples alone, the hematology. If we wanted to fake the shroud, do you realize we'd have to kill someone? We would have to get blood, pre-mortem blood, and then we would have to stab them in the heart and get post-mortem blood and translucent pulmonary edema and smear that. I mean, and then we...
Yeah, thank you. Think for yourself. I thought the same thing. The Jesus worshiper telling you to think for yourself is really, really funny, isn't it? So now nobody can get blood? Yes, you could very easily get blood. It's impossible to get any blood from somebody alive or that's died. Nobody could get any blood. Are we sure it's even human blood either? Do I have to go debunk that too? It's like any one of these claims these guys do, you go and fact check it, and then you find out they're full of shit.
We'd have to know that there are certain plants that only bloom in Jerusalem in April. We'd have to know the provenance of the shroud. I mean, there's over 30 things a hoaxer would have to know to fake the shroud.
And then you'd have to apply it in some unknown fashion that cannot be replicated even now.
And then we would have to know, how do we change 2 microns deep, so surface level, and so we have a traveling exhibit right now that we're doing where I have 50 artifacts that show these things through infographics, and we have panel 13 in our traveling Who is the Man of the Shroud exhibit shows each.
Okay, so ChatGPT says, has the shroud been proven to have human blood? Short answer, not definitively. While some studies support the presence of human blood, the evidence remains contested and inconclusive. The Shroud of Turin project conducted various analysis. Their report, is this the 33 report? The stains contain hemoglobin and also tested positive for serum albumin, indicating the presence of real blood components. Some professor at University Padua published studies that identified hemoglobin and creatine in the stains, consistent with severe trauma and dehydration. Come on. Aligning with gospel description of Jesus. Like, come on. They're able to measure how much dehydration is in the blood from that long ago. Come on. August 2025, Kelly Kurse reported identifying serum halos around blood clots rings form when blood clotting. This suggests blood came from unwashed, fresh wounds, which would be difficult for medieval forger to anticipate. Earlier genetic tests. How do we know that the guy that made this thing didn't just cut his finger and drip a little bit of blood? Yeah. They're like, he ate falafel, he had unleavened bread the night before, actually confirmed at Passover. They're like, they detected alcohol from the Last Supper in his blood, actually. Human male DNA. So they trust the human DNA blood studies, but not the radiocarbon dating. Yeah, convenient. A key member of the STURP claimed the bloodstains were red pigments, part of a tempura plant, and no actual blood was found. Skeptics and forensic critics point out that many of the methods used to identify blood were not conclusive or forensic standard. Oh, it's Christian bullshit. How many Christians were in this scientific team, I wonder, also? No blood via testing, 1973 Italian expert commission. No blood via testing, and some believe the shroud was a medieval creation. Inconclusive. All right. I think we get it.
Fiber, each thread has around 250 to 200 fibers. So you think about 0.2 microns of each fiber of each thread. I mean, that's how superficial the image is. We couldn't fake that. No one can. We don't have the technology to do that.
I'm fixated on the idea that
we just watched the guy make a recreation of the image an hour ago. Hardcore jab, you're an idiot and you're blocked. Christians are such bad copers. Such bad copers.
That the custodians of the science around
0.2 microns of brain matter in this guy, says Optics Prime.
This at the British Museum, which is the most famous museum in the world, whose job is to search for the truth. That's what science is, the pursuit of truth. That they would hide facts,
right,
and mislead the public on purpose. So that, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised.
It's a big conspiracy, man. Satanic conspiracy. Even the Vatican's on it. Even the Pope's trying to cover up the truth about our Lord and Savior and his resurrection. It's just a big... Those Jews and those Satanists don't want us to know about Jesus, man.
And I'm not out of order. You're out of order. The whole freaking system is out of order. You want the truth? You want the truth? You can't.
Because this is a religious artifact,
right?
That speaks to the
Rochelle
veracity
said
of the
$5. You'd need a lot of science to discover the dehydration hemoglobin. You'd need to be born before 1975 to understand. You kids don't get it.
Yeah, that sounded like total bullshit too. Funny how the ChatGPT didn't say that.
World's greatest religion, which has many opponents.
Exactly.
The other studies.
So it does raise questions about other archaeological finds that are relevant to Christianity, and the big one, of course, are the Qumran scrolls, the Dead Sea Scrolls, found right after the Second World War by a shepherd.
1948.
That's my next chapter.
Bedouin.
A Bedouin shepherd boy throws a stone into a cave.
Right.
Here's something pottery breaking, goes up there, and all these jars with these scrolls in them. That, of course, was the same year that Israel became a nation, 1948, and they become the custody, or some of them become the custody of the Israeli government.
Are they going to say that it's fake? Are they going to say they're all fake? No, this Christian guy is going to say they're real. For sure.
And they're written right around the time of Jesus, probably a little before. Correct me if I'm wrong on the facts
50
here.
BC.
250 BC. This monastic community called the Qumran community in Qumran.
Right.
And they're, many portions of what we refer to as the Old Testament. At least that's what we've been told. But then I've always wondered, these are in the custody largely of a government. And they slow rolled. I mean, they could just take pictures of every single fragment and put them on the internet.
Right.
And anyway, there are a lot of questions, but
they have done that. They didn't at first. They kept them covered up at first, but I have the book actually. Hold on. Right here. The church was trying to cover up the Dead Sea Scrolls, actually. The Dead Sea Scrolls Uncovered by Robert Eisenman and Michael Wise. The first complete translation and interpretation of 50 key documents withheld for over 35 years.
My main question to you, I think you know something about this, is do we have all the Qumran scrolls like that are in custody? Are they available to the public and to scholars?
No, because they keep coming to light. I mean, there's the Cairo Geniza fragments. So there's also Dead Sea Scrolls outside of the Dead Sea, if that makes sense. So like there's the Cairo Geniza fragments. There's this brings up a great question. I mean, the antiquity of all artifacts is sketchy, to be clear. And, you know, when you look at the great artifacts from history, how people come into control of these artifacts, there's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of corruption involved, candidly.
But could it be... Is it plausible, or is there any evidence that scripture from the Qumran cache, the Dead Sea Scrolls, has been suppressed?
Oh, certainly, absolutely.
Certainly,
I mean, there's absolutely ways in which there is a demonic hatred towards anything biblical. I mean,
see, you don't believe their Jewish bullshit, you have a demonic hatred. You're not gullible enough to fall for his stupid shroud. You're a demonic evil person.
People would have to go in order to fake a miracle, while arguing that magic is more plausible.
Yeah. Magic. The only thing to explain it is magic. Dude, this thing of just calling everybody a demonic. Flat earthers do that too, by the way. Flat Earth Dave goes, if you don't believe in the flat earth, you're just a demonic. The demonic trolls debunking me. Oy vey. The demonic globers. The demonic globalist.
And I've not just in the Dead Sea Scrolls community. I mean, I've seen this with all biblical fragments. There is a hyper skepticism towards biblical fragments, a framework, a worldview that we don't foist on anything else except biblical fragments.
You know, as long as they're available to the public, I'm okay with that.
Right.
As long as people can, have the information, decide for themselves. But my concern is that
they're like, we got an unbeliever over here, doesn't believe in the shroud, doesn't believe in all the Jewish bullshit. What are we going to do? We need an exorcism to get the demon out of him. So he believes in Rabbi Yeshua, so he bows to the Moshiach.
The power of Christ compels you.
Get this demon out of here.
The power of Christ compels you.
They're not available to the public.
Well, I worked in the Griffith Papyrology Lab in Oxford, which is formerly known as the Sackler Library. They took the Sackler name off it.
Did, yeah.
So, but when I was there, it was the Sackler.
They're killing a lot of people.
So, so now it's just the Ashmolean. So in the Griffith Papyrology Lab, I mean, we have 500,000 fragments that have not been categorized. They've not been cataloged. So, I mean, I say this as one who does this. I mean,
what is he was talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls, and he goes, they have a demonic skepticism for him. What is he even talking about? Like, I'm writing a chapter on the Dead Sea Scrolls. I know some people forged some, but like we know that. I think the rest are authentic. What is he even talking about?
Biblical fragments that have not been brought to light.
Why?
Well, I mean,
how hard is it to take a picture of them and put it on the internet?
Exactly. And there are great people doing it. I mean, my friend Dan Wallace at the Center for Study of New Testament Manuscripts, their entire aim is to photograph as many biblical texts as they can and to make them available. So there are great groups out there that are doing it. But the hoops they have to jump through with these libraries and where these manuscripts are located.
Why would it be controversial to take, a 2,000-year-old fragment of scripture, take a picture of it, and upload it onto the internet? Why would that be? Why would someone want to prevent that?
They have done that. This is so dumb, Tucker. Oh, let me have this false premise. Why would they not do this thing that they've already been doing already?
I can only speak to my experience, and so many of the papyrologists who I've worked with.
Sorry.
So many of those are people that work with the papyri. So biblical fragments are papyri first, and then that was the original work of the scripture, and then of course scrolls. Honestly, so many of them.
So papyri made from papyrus plants that grow in wetlands.
The early church was innovative. It used something called a codex. It did not take scrolls from Jews. It wanted to have this book form with writing on the recto and verso, the front and back of each page, and it was cheap. It was inexpensive. It could be hidden. Unlike these scrolls that were, I mean, I have Jewish scrolls. They're beautiful.
Here's his buddy, Daniel Wallace, the PhD that he's referencing.
Discovered.
There's really two ways. There are still some manuscripts that are discovered in the sand.
Sean McDowell. So he's the McDowells, right? The book. Who wrote the big? They're Christian apologists. They wrote the big Christian apologetics book. Josh McDowell, right? So, he's super credible. This Christian apologist guy, I'm sure he's trustworthy.
But that's far less common nowadays. And all of those would be on ancient papyri, which was kind of the ancient world's paper. It's actually stronger than paper. But the vast majority of manuscripts are already in libraries, European libraries especially. And they are manuscripts that no one has gone.
See, Josh McDowell, his dad, wrote the book Evidence That Demands a Verdict about Jesus, trying to prove Jesus is real. Evidence for the resurrection, evidence for Jesus. These are Christian apologists that spew the worst type of Christian propaganda there is. Oh, that's his buddy. Big surprise.
Gone through carefully and examined and determined what they have.
Okay.
So when we
speak up, Gramps, can't hear you.
Beautiful, but they're heavy. They're hard to transport. They're only written on one side. You had to unroll the whole thing.
And they're made of animal skins?
Right, parchment.
Parchment would be
bovine. They're all bovine. They're animal. They're calf.
Yeah. Okay. But any of this stuff is not. I mean, like, what would be the justification for keeping it from the public?
Yeah, well, I mean, so much of it comes out of the Enlightenment movement of Europe. I mean, coming out with what we called higher criticism, the German scholars, the height of German scholarship.
Nazis are covering up the truth about Jesus. Go ahead, just say it. Just Nazi Amalekites trying to cover up the truth about the magical Jesus shroud. Feels like beating a dead horse with the shroud shit. Dude. This is just a few days ago. It's got 15,000 likes and 3.3 million views. Uh-oh. Illuminati confirmed.
In the 1800s that Jesus didn't exist. If he did, he was probably gay with a mortgage.
I get it.
And then you have this Pontius Pilate didn't exist. And so much of that influenced.
No. Red herring. Straw man. No, I'm never saying the Pontius Pilate didn't
modernity
exist.
In a way that, I mean, has wreaked havoc on all of our div colleges.
Sure, but I'm just saying now, 2025, if you have a bunch of scrolls that are found in a cave in
Tucker's like, why are they covering up all this truth about Jesus? And he's like, well, the Germans, the biblical critic Germans, it's the Germans' fault. Those satanic Nazi Germans told you Jesus was fake.
1948 that speak directly to, the world's great religions. Is how can a government be allowed to hide those from?
But you're immediately accused of being a sensationalist. I've been ridiculed and attacked for bringing the shroud to light. I mean, you're called a popularizer. I mean, this is a very high view, hyper skeptical community that catalogs biblical manuscripts. All you have to do is go to Society of Biblical.
Yeah, as opposed to you and your apologist buddies that are hyper gullible community. The hyper gullible goy community that believes every little bit of Jewish bullshit in the Bible and all the forgeries.
Literature with 5,000 Bible scholars to see how crazy some of these people are.
I'm sure
there is a hatred towards truth. I mean, the man who I defend in my thesis, I write about this in my.
These Satanists just hate the truth of Jesus in the shroud, man. They just hate. Giga gullible goy.
Book Body of Proof. I've spent 3 years studying the physical bodily resurrection of Jesus. I've written a 93,000-word Überlieferungsgeschichte, history of resurrection belief in the Judeo-Christian motif. And I come to my Viva where in England it's pass-fail. So if you fail your PhD Viva in England, you can never do a redo again. You get what's called an MPhil, and there's no do-overs. So I come to my defense, Tucker, and I have a Bible scholar who did not believe in the miraculous, did not believe in the historicity of the resurrection. And he looks at me and he says, Jeremiah, do you actually believe the resurrection happened, or is that just imaginative storytelling?
Yeah. Well, that doesn't surprise me at all. that people who, how many Episcopal priests believe in God?
Yeah, none.
No, I know some who do, but like the minority. That doesn't shock me that they would, the corruption exists. It's the suppression of information.
Oh, it's a big
Wikipedia
cover-up
that drives me crazy.
It's a big conspiracy.
Gatekeeping information that prevents the public and interested parties.
The Pope is gatekeeping the truth about Jesus
from even knowing that information exists.
Right.
That is so sinister.
I'm a victim of it. I was taught that the shroud was a Catholic relic and there was no science behind it at all. I was taught that at the intellectual Jerusalem that is Oxford. I'm a victim of this. I understand it completely. And I guess I'm numb to it, Tucker, that it's my world. I've been in it professionally in the academy since 2009. It's just a miracle if truth actually gets out. And that's why I'm so grateful for your program.
Yeah. The pinnacle of truth.
Do you have hope that there will be further study of the shroud, or do we not need any?
I'm doing all I can to make that happen. This is changing people's lives, this truth, because when we look at this mystery, it actually reveals the message of Christianity, God's love for us, and that he sent Christ to die in our place and raise from the dead. That's the gospel. That's the good news. And that this event actually happened in history. Jesus physically, bodily rose from the grave, and there are great reasons to believe that. I have another artifact I want to hand you, though, Tucker.
Yep.
I want you to hold the replica of the spear. So this is amazing. This is a replica. There's a weight to it.
Yeah,
now, you mentioned that they did not break Jesus's legs, but let's make sure he's really dead. So they take this.
Again, they didn't break Jesus's legs because you're not supposed to have a broken bone of the sacrificial goats. That's why. More midrashic, fake mythical prophecy fulfillment.
This spear, this lance, and they stabbed Jesus according to John's gospel. And remember, John's gospel, this is not a scientific or medical journal. It says that blood and water came out of the body of Jesus. Jesus is stabbed between rib 5 and 6, and we see that reflected on the shroud with the post-mortem type AB blood that pools just above that triangle, right parallel with rib 5 and 6. And you're holding in your hand the spear that would have inflicted that punishment on Jesus's dead corpse by the Roman executioners.
Damn.
And
so the spear likely had an iron tip on it.
Exactly. And it punctures about 3 centimeters wide. And again, the scripture said, Isaiah foretold it, by his stripes we're healed. By his stripes we're vindicated. And we see that reflected in the spear, the lance wound that Jesus' body. And we see that reflected on the shroud, which is just fascinating to think about.
Again, the Isaiah 53 says, by his wounds we are healed. No, they came up with the whole idea for the crucifixion from reading Isaiah 53 as messianic.
Last question. Are there other physical artifacts extant that you're satisfied are genuine?
Jocelyn 8 sent $5 on Rumble.
Jocelyn.
The same time frame the zodiac was developed, we also discovered 365 degrees in a circle, 12 equal parts, and developed base 60 math still used to measure time, a circle, and navigate the globe today.
Yep. Numerology. Look at this. Is there a prophecy fulfilled with the water in the blood of Jesus? John says, interprets the tradition that Jesus as the one who came by water and blood, emphasizing their theological significance rather than just a medical detail. Also in Exodus and in Numbers, Moses strikes the rock and water flows out for the people to drink. Paul explicitly connects this rock to Christ in 1 Corinthians, so the gospel author may have seen the spear as the strike releasing life-giving water. Again, this is not a historical documentation of some medical analysis of the water in there. How would they even know if there was some water mixed in with the blood to begin with, right? It would just dilute it so it looks like a little less red. If it was mixed in, you don't see the difference between the water. This is based on a prophecy that they threw that detail in there. Ezekiel's prophecy of vision of water flowing from the temple, bringing life and healing, could be applied to Jesus as the true temple. His death releases the life-giving water. This is all symbolic fiction, not a medical diagnosis of the blood of Jesus. Was a little Jewish scientist out there like, let me test this blood. It looks like there's some water mixed in here. I detect some H2O in this magical Jesus blood. Such a crock of
whose
shit.
providence is knowable, that point to the historical reality of Jesus.
Oh, absolutely. We have an embarrassment of riches of artifacts, archaeology. This is the beauty of Christianity. This is the beauty of
There's no archaeology proving Jesus. Lying again.
Our faith, Tucker, that our faith intersects with archaeology, where I often say that, and I say this in Body of Proof, archaeology is Christianity's closest cousin. What's amazing is
to what extent can Christians, because all of this is taking place in a non-Christian country.
Absolutely. And I know atheist Jews who are archaeologists, and they use 6 sources to make sure their archaeological sites exhibit verisimilitude, that they're digging in the right place. And you've probably heard of these sources, Tucker. Are you ready for this? These are atheist or agnostic Jewish archaeologists in the land of Israel. There's around 100 archaeological sites at any one time. Most of them are secular, completely secularists, but they still use 6 sources to make sure they're digging in the right spot. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, the book of Acts, and Josephus. So if the critical archaeologists are going to use our sources because they're so good, I'm going to use them too.
But why should we try?
Sources about places in Jerusalem and around Jerusalem existing is not proof of any of the magic being told there real. This is Charlie Kirk tier, like, I saw the River Jordan, so I know Jesus was baptized there. How do they all say this stupid argument?
If you have people who are, opposed to Christianity, is there oversight? Like, do we know that historical information isn't being suppressed?
No. There needs to be more integrity.
So now he's alluding to the Jews are covering up the truth about Jesus. Meanwhile, in reality, Netanyahu's like, come on, Christians, come check out the Jesus boat. A boat, Jesus might have been on this boat. Come and check it out. And Tucker's like, the Jews are covering up the truth about our Lord and Savior. Yeah, I'm sure Netanyahu wouldn't want to destroy his golden goose and say Jesus wasn't real.
For sure.
Are there people who aren't attached to that government who are on the archaeological sites watching the stuff?
I have great friends who are there who have incredible credibility, like my archaeologist friend Scott Stripling. He's the lead digger at Shiloh, or what the rest of the world calls Shiloh. He's in season 5. So there's great archaeologists out there doing great work, but they're fewer and far between. That's why we need more people to do what we do.
Jeremiah, thank you.
Thank you, Tucker, for having me. Love your program. Love you.
And this is a horrifying device. Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Thank you.
Wow. More kosher ops promoting Rabbi Jesus to the Goyim. Abraham Matrix shares the Shroud fraud, how the Shroud of Turin deceived the world. Where are all the rest of the comments? Why am I only seeing like 5 comments here? That's weird, right? I didn't get blocked or something weird. No, that wouldn't. Okay, here's the rest. Richard Willett says no proof Jesus even existed. Anti-Judaic, we're total domination here on the Tucker thread. Schilling clear forgeries. No new research proves a single thing, you idiot. And everyone's back on the Jewish plantation. Yeah, Mr. Operation Mockingbird and shared an office with PNAC. Tucker Carlson's going to give you the real truth. Testing proves it's from the 1300s. End of discussion. A lot of groypers trolling in here over the Nick thing. That's funny. The new images are wild. Trump is the Shroud. Anti-Abrahamics collecting scalps in the replies. Total domination. Let's see. Oh, not seeing anything too promising here. The shroud is real, always has been. It bears witness not only to the suffering and death of Christ, but to his glorious resurrection, a divine sign for those with eyes to see. The King is alive. Haha. Jeremiah's anti-Catholic insinuations were untoward, deplorable, and unnecessary. Proven fake. All right. Christ is King. All right. 3 hours and 40 minutes. Really putting in the hours today to make that goal, but we did it. You guys are awesome. I wanted to watch it for myself. You guys are amazing. Yes! Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
Everybody like, share, subscribe.
Thank you. All right.
Flip it up.
Alrighty then.
Clip it and ship it. We'll cover the rest of this stuff and more tomorrow on the show. Appreciate you all for joining me. Another day in Clown World. Another day in Zio World. Zio Watch. We will continue the Zio Watch.
89 sent $5 YouTube video. Did Leonardo da Vinci create the mysterious Shroud of Turin? Full documentary.
I will check that out for next time. Appreciate you all. You guys are amazing. Go crazy without you guys. In this Jewish Twilight Zone clown world of Jesus grifters and Israel shills, peddling and spoon-feeding the King of the Jews to the masses, to the gullible masses. Hope you guys have a nice night. Hail the old gods down with Yahweh, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.